so far. Next update at 6:10 for the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin in California, where a group of skiers is still missing after an avalanche near Lake Tahoe.
A group of 15 skiers and their guides was on the last leg of a 3-day backcountry trip when the avalanche struck. 6 of them made it to a cabin and were rescued. 9 are still unaccounted for.
It took us several hours to even get, equipment to the scene and get resources deployed.
Captain Russell Green with the Nevada County Sheriff's Office says the conditions are treacherous.
Snowing, very little visibility, high avalanche danger.
2 of the 6 rescued skiers had to be treated at a hospital. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
30 inches of snow fell in just 24 hours in nearby Truckee, shutting down parts of the interstate there both ways, leaving cars and trucks stranded. Warm, dry, powerful winds fueling wildfires across Oklahoma and Kansas and on into Colorado. Todd Natale lent a hand after evacuation orders went out in Elbert County.
I was at home, saw the smoke. I'm a retired firefighter and just asked if they needed a driver, needed help. So came out and been here helping.
77-mile-an-hour winds blamed for near brownout conditions that triggered a 30-car pileup on I-25. 4 people were killed, 29 taken to area hospitals. A setback in the search for Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie's 84-year-old mother. CBS's Jared Hill.
Investigators were back at Nancy Guthrie's house amid a roadblock in the weeks-long search. The FBI says DNA pulled from a glove 2 miles away from the home didn't match anything in their national criminal database or any DNA found in the house. The Pima County Sheriff's Department says they're now turning to commercial genealogy databases.
Meta's Mark Zuckerberg scheduled to testify in Los Angeles today before anguished parents in a landmark trial on social media addiction. Tech contributor Ian Scher.
Zuckerberg taking the stand happens at a time where we've already seen a lot of internal research spill into the public from whistleblowers who say that the company was aware of many of the impacts its technologies can have on people's mental health.
It'll be the first time Zuckerberg addresses child safety claims directly in front of a jury. Planes U.S. officials use to fly around the world are getting an exterior makeover. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
The planes are being repainted to better reflect President Trump's preferred palette, according to officials. The current colors date back to the Kennedy administration. They're being repainted from a robin egg blue and white to a dark navy blue with deep red and gold.
Dow futures are up 179. NASDAQ futures ahead 128. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
It is 6:03, and right now we've got clear skies. It's 56 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We will get you the full forecast from AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg in just a moment.
St. Louis makes history and makes a big jump in an important ranking.
For the first time since 1990, St. Louis Lambert will host 2 competing long-haul international airlines. According to a new report from Simple Flying, Lambert Airport notched a 169% year-over-year increase in long-haul departures, the highest growth rate of any airport in the United States. The growth is driven by British Airways, which begins its 4 times a week service to London Heathrow on April 19th using a Boeing 787, but the report notes that Lufthansa is doing the heavy lifting, increasing its frequency to Frankfurt, Germany to keep pace. While the raw number of flights, 210 departures scheduled between April and September, is still lower than bigger hubs like Phoenix, the jump does put St. Louis well above other similar metro areas in flight offerings on the schedule this summer. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
We're really not interested in enforcement action. What we would like people to do is to follow the law.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page on signing an executive order directing his county revenue department to send letters to all unincorporated St. Louis County liquor license holders.
Dr. Page has them advising the businesses that having video lottery terminals or VLTs are illegal throughout Missouri.
I haven't talked to the Attorney General about this. She did make an announcement that she is working with federal investigators, including the FBI and the IRS, investigating illegal gambling with these machines and a whole host of other things associated with them.
Page tells KMOX he understands the position Attorney General Catherine Hanaway has taken. He's had no communication with Hanaway, so it's not clear, though, if FBI agents and the IRS will be conducting enforcement in St. Louis County. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The needs are much greater than the revenue we have available. That's what St. Louis City Budget Director Paul Payne told the Citizens Advisory Committee for Capital Expenditures. City officials outlined about $460 million in total needs, with $226 million in critical infrastructure needs. But there's only about $49 million in annual funding.
According to the Business Journal, officials outlined significant deterioration in government buildings, including City Hall, where the roof leaks, bridge and streets that need funding to get federal grants, and several park and recreation facilities that have reached failure conditions. Payne told the committee they must weigh priorities given the limited funding.
Local residents are being notified of a couple of measles cases in the St. Louis area. We get more from KMOX Health Editor Fred Bottomer.
Missouri and St. Louis County health officials are alerting the public of a possible measles exposure involving an out-of-state resident who traveled through Lambert Airport a week ago Friday, February 7th, between 5 and 7 p.m. The person was in Terminal 2 at baggage claim and rode parking spot Shuttle 3 to the parking area. The second case involves an adult in the Metro East area, this one at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Collinsville. People attending church there on February 8th between 8 a.m. and 12:15 p.m. were potentially exposed to measles. The church has notified congregants of the exposure. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
After exposure, measles symptoms can take from 7 to 21 days to develop.
Less than 24 hours after it launched, a memorial fund for a slain St. Louis figure skating coach has shattered its fundraising goal. Sam Linehan was shot and killed during a robbery attempt last week. Supporters have now donated tens of thousands of dollars to create a scholarship in Linehan's name. The money will support skaters at the Metro Edge Figure Skating Club, where Linehan, a former Team USA member, served as a coach. A celebration of life is planned for March 2nd at Sato, the restaurant where Linehan worked as general manager.
The National Weather Service in St. Louis issuing its first spring flood outlook of the year. Hydrologist Mark Fuchs says flooding is unlikely as of now.
One of the big drivers of our spring flood outlook is not just the aerial extent of snow cover, but the amount of water, how much water is actually in the snowpack.
He tells MissouriNet the other factor is the ongoing drought. Nearly all of Missouri is abnormally dry or in some level of drought.
From the KMOX Business Desk, a major milestone with the Dow hitting 50,000 last week. But Dave Simons, KMOX Money Show host with One Private Wealth, says it's good news and maybe not such good news.
Historically, a lot of times when the market has hit these big, round milestone numbers, it can mark kind of the top.
He says, the last few major milestones hitting 1,000, hitting 10,000 were then followed by recessions or dark spells for the economy. Also, the Dow doesn't reflect what people are feeling about the economy in their own lives.
Well, you'll be feeling the spring-like weather today, that's for sure, if you head outside. We'll check traffic and weather together next. It's 6:08.
It seems like this weather is going to continue. The cold weather is going to continue here in St. Louis and Illinois for the foreseeable future to finish out the winter. Now, if you have been unlucky or you don't want to wait till you're unlucky and you need your furnace fixed or even replaced, call me. We could get your furnace next day. Sometimes we, depending on the manufacturer, it's not us, but just depending on the manufacturer, if they have the parts available and here in St. Louis or Illinois, we can get you that day. But either way, if you're having problems with the furnace or you want to prevent problems with the furnace, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois, just one number. That number is 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it's Bart Inman. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide, our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, there's still no change out west. I still see the flashing lights up the road. It looks to me like they're in the right lane. Eastbound Highway 70, you're talking about the construction zone there before you get to Wentzville Parkway. Traffic's jammed approaching David Hochul Parkway, west of David Hochul Parkway into this incident. And again, it's before you get to Wentzville Parkway, so I don't know if it's road work running late. It may be. They were working yesterday doing emergency repair work eastbound 70 at 64. They did pick that part up. They were also working westbound 64 at 70 in the left lane. I believe they're still out there. They're scheduled to be out there until about 8 this morning, but no westbound delays there. Other than that, the rest of the interstates look great for you this morning. Again, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, there's just a brief delay, just a little bit of a slowdown. Eastbound Highway 64 as you get past Highway 50 in that construction zone over in the O'Fallon, Fairview Heights area. But again, otherwise, the rest of the interstates are wide open and looking good for you on this Wednesday morning. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a breezy start to our Wednesday, mostly sunny, unseasonably warm, high 72. The record of 74 was set in 1971. Skies will turn partly cloudy tonight with a low near 50. For tomorrow, variable cloudiness and warm. It'll become breezy in the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots. It could be hail and damaging wind with any thunderstorm, the high 70. Breezy, much cooler Friday with sunshine and some clouds, high 48. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is now clear and 56 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
It's 6:12. The U.S. Attorney's Office cracks down on several home health care companies. The owner of Bridgeton-based A&L Angels Home Healthcare, Danielle Green, is pleading not guilty to 5 counts related to billing Missouri Medicaid almost $1.5 million for services never provided. Several of her associates are also charged.
Meanwhile, Natavia Boyd Wells is pleading guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the 41-year-old admits to submitting more than $200,000 in fraudulent reimbursement claims from her Touch of the Heart Home Healthcare to the Department of Veterans Affairs.
It's becoming a buyer's market for recreational cannabis in Illinois, according to new figures from the state. Nancy Hardy reports.
The average cost of an ounce of recreational cannabis at an Illinois dispensary has fallen from about $400 to $167 over the last 5 years. The Tribune reports revenue fell 13% last year, while the number of registered dispensaries and items sold grew. The paper attributes the lower revenue to competition from hemp and out-of-state sales. The state collected more money from taxes last year than ever before. Mayor Johnson cited concerns about hurting Black and Brown-owned businesses as a reason to veto a ban on intoxicating hemp last week.
The leading Republican in the race for Illinois governor says he and Chicago's mayor don't agree on much, but they do both agree that the Bears should stay in the city. Political editor Jeff Buckles reports Darren Bailey is talking about moves in Chicago and in Indiana to lock down the Bears' next stadium.
The former state senator says regardless of the land the team owns in Arlington Heights and the move that could clear the way for Indiana to build the team a new stadium on their side of the state line, the Bears belong in the city of Chicago.
They do. They're the Chicago Bears.
And he's not opposed to the measure set to be considered as soon as this week that would give the Bears the ability to negotiate a long-term deal for property taxes at the old Arlington Park. But Bailey says it never should have gotten to this point.
Why on earth is Indiana sitting on so much money that they can afford to lure the Bears and probably pay for everything?
He hints it comes back to state budgeting priorities as set by Democrats in the governor's office and the legislature.
We've got to be smart about it, and we've got to be fiscally responsible about it.
A new Missouri bill could soon end the production of Kansas City Chiefs license plates statewide. The measure comes from Bowling Green Republican and House Speaker Pro Tem Chad Perkins.
License plates belong to the state of Missouri. But if you're going to leave and go to Kansas, then why are we giving out license plates for a business that's based in Kansas?
The bill would honor the ones already on the road, but stop future plate production.
A reserve officer from the Baldwin Police Department is going to be on Wheel of Fortune. Look for contestant Rachel Stark. Because of the Olympics, her episode unfortunately won't air until 3:30 in the morning tomorrow. But you can also check it out on Hulu or Peacock.
Well, we'll be up, so we can
true.
check that out.
I will try and remember to do that at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. It's 6:15. Last night, St. Louis University lost its first game in almost 3 months. They had an 18-game winning streak snapped, 81-76 at Rhode Island. Tough one for Coach Josh Schertz visiting with Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr.
And, we've lost our edge somewhere. So tonight they made us pay, but I don't think we played. We were worse with the ball.
And with that, the Billikens turning the ball over and not making their threes, and Rhode Island doing what they had to do, ended up in a loss, 81-76. Elsewhere, Southeast Missouri State moved into a first-place tie in the OVC. They won yesterday at Tennessee Martin, 56-53 in overtime. Brad Korn's team is playing very well. Miami of Ohio is still undefeated, only undefeated team in college basketball. 26-0. They won at UMass, 86-77. Number 1 Michigan improves to 25-1, and they have a 2-game lead in the Big Ten. They beat number 7 Purdue on the road, 91-80. Also in the Big Ten, Iowa upended number 9 Nebraska, 57-52. And in the ACC, North Carolina walked into a beehive. They got stung by NC State, 82-58 in Raleigh yesterday. Games on the schedule today. Number 10 Illinois at USC. That's a late one tonight at 9 o'clock. Southern Illinois visits Drake at 6:30. Kennesaw State at Missouri State at 7. Murray State at Illinois State at 8. And number 19 Vanderbilt at Mizzou tonight. The Tigers hosting the Commodores at 8 o'clock. We turn our attention now to baseball, and KMOX's Matt Pauley.
Cardinals have a number of relief pitchers vying for roster spots and high-leverage roles. Riley O'Brien, Matt Swanson, JoJo Romero, and Ryan Stanek are among the candidates to get chances to close games out. Manager Oliver Marmol says camp has to play out before roles will be defined.
More so wanting to get through spring healthy and see how camp goes for a lot of those guys. But there's different ways of mixing and matching with what we have on the back end that could be effective.
There are a number of pitchers like Justin Brule, Nick Riquet, and Packy Naughton vying to be the second lefty behind Romero. Marmol says it's important that someone emerges.
The way we've kind of used our pen, I like the idea of being able to do that early in games and kind of match up based on lanes. We've talked enough about it, but that is open at the moment.
O'Brien's World Baseball Classic status is up in the air as he deals with a calf strain. He is scheduled to be part of Team Korea in a high-leverage bullpen role. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Tony Clark has resigned as head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, a possible salary cap fight looming during a federal investigation of its finances. Clark was asked to resign by the 8-man executive subcommittee of the Players Association after an investigation by the union's outside counsel discovered evidence that Clark had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, a union employee since 2023. Tonight on KMOX, the City Spotlight from 6 to 8 with Jen Cease. She'll be at the City Pop-Up in the Foundry. Carolyn Kendall, Diego Giuliani, Corey Ray, Allie McKay, Colin Rooney, Dale Shilley, all with City and players galore. It's going to be a fun night previewing the opener on Saturday at 1:30 against Charlotte. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, the Billikens, and City, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler here for the FanDuel Sportsbook, which, of course, is the official sportsbook of KMOX, mine as well, for a whole lot of years now. If you want to know why betting the winter games on FanDuel makes sense, just think of it this way. You get to connect yourself more to the action and the fun. So from individual game lines to medal counts to finding your own angle on the events that you care the most about, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. So with the winter games on and a lot of time that we can all spend paying attention, there's no way that's better to follow them than with a bet on FanDuel. So you got curling matches that start slow and then get real tense. You've got speed skating decided by inches or decided by fractions of seconds. And you got hockey games that feel different because they are. These are all-star games. The best players in the world going at it from the opening faceoff. You have that and so much more. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. It's FanDuel, where you play your game game. Must be 21 or older and present in Missouri. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Many times, a person hires a law firm after an injury without doing research. It can be a big mistake or not. Sometimes, after you have hired a certain lawyer, you realize you made a certain mistake. But guess what? Just because you hired them doesn't mean you can't fire them. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you think you've hired the wrong firm, you may have. So do this. Google Morgan & Morgan results or visit forthepeople.com for cases just like yours. You may find that our full-service injury firm should have been your choice in the first place. Last year, almost 12,000 people discharged their law firm and hired us after further research. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. Visit forthepeople.com today and let's get started. Or call Pound Law on your cell phone. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Now the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's get a check of the roadways and the weather. The weather is going to be really amazing today. Hopefully your ride in will be the same. Let's get the latest from Roger Brand at 621 in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it should be for most folks, Debbie, but if you're traveling on eastbound Highway 70, we still have, I get a better look at it now. I guess it's a stalled truck in the right lane. I've been talking about this right lane restriction eastbound 70 west of Wentzville Parkway, so they're still out there dealing with it. Traffic's jammed back near the weigh scales east of Forestell, so before you get to David Hochul Parkway into this incident, right lane blocked on eastbound Highway 70. Other than that, the rest of the interstates don't look all that bad. There's just a little bit of a slowdown between Bayless and Weber, northbound 55. And we do have some heavy traffic. It looks like an incident. Can't tell if it's a stall. I believe it is. North 270 at 64. So we're starting to back up at the Clayton Road overpass up to that point. The rest of the area interstates, though, don't look bad. Again, just a little slow. Eastbound 64 past 50 in Fairview Heights. That's in the work zone. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold. Guaranteed Realty, 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold Guaranteed Realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Great forecast from Joe Lundberg. Breezy this morning, sunny and unseasonably warm this afternoon, a high of 72 degrees. Tonight becoming partly cloudy, low around 50. Tomorrow, breezy, thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon, a high of 70 degrees. Friday, breezy, cooler with sunshine and some clouds, and a high of only 48. Right now, it is clear, 56 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 622. A desperate search underway in the Sierra Nevada area of California. Skiers north of Lake Tahoe were swamped by an avalanche Tuesday afternoon. Some are safe, others missing. Madison Keevy with KOVR TV has more from the scene along I-80 where travel is treacherous.
The skiers were on a 3-day backcountry trip when the intense storms moved in, dumping several feet of snow. Rescue crews are facing life-threatening conditions themselves with more avalanches possible in the area. But they're throwing everything they can at the rescue mission.
We're having to bring in, snowcats, snowmobiles, and then also deploying individuals on skis.
That's Captain Russell Green of the Nevada County Sheriff's Office.
Wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour spread a significant wildfire in the eastern plains of Colorado Tuesday. The large area, about 35 miles southeast of Denver, saw evacuation orders issued for much of the day. CBS News Colorado reporter Olivia Young.
Fire for Agate Fire and Elizabeth Fire.
First responders hurried to fight the flames.
Who got me out of that mess? Was that you? Thanks, brother.
And evacuate at-risk neighbors.
While I was doing some evac on some houses, fire kind of got on both sides of the road, so I ended up having to drive through a field, and just one of my buddies here guided me out through GPS just so I could find my way out.
The search for Nancy Guthrie continues in Arizona with no arrests and few answers. Investigators say DNA from evidence recovered near her home has not produced a match, and additional testing is still underway as the case grows more challenging over time.
The sheriff says additional DNA collected at the crime scene is still being analyzed. Investigators say the priority remains locating Nancy Guthrie. A retired Pima County lieutenant tells CBS News the investigation gets harder as time passes, especially in the desert terrain surrounding her neighborhood. The FBI continues to ask for tips. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Tucson, Arizona.
We now know Jeffrey Epstein's jet made several stops in St. Louis. Records reveal his plane had maintenance done at Jet Aviation in the Metro East. According to the newly released documents, the only reason Epstein was in St. Louis was for logistics and repairs for his plane.
Weeks of Mardi Gras parades, balls, and street parties brought to a screeching halt overnight in New Orleans.
Mardi Gras 2026 is in the books, and it was one heck of a party.
New Orleans Mayor Helena Moreno announcing to the crowds that Fat Tuesday is over and Ash Wednesday has arrived. She was joined by the police chief, Ann Kirkpatrick.
It's time to go home, folks.
They then led scores of officers on horseback, in cars, and on foot, parting the crowd of thousands still partying right up till midnight on Bourbon Street. Dave Cohen for CBS News, New Orleans.
President Trump hosts a reception today in honor of Black History Month.
The reception at the White House follows the death of civil rights icon Jesse Jackson, a man the president described as, quote, a force of nature like few others before him. On social media, the president also called Jackson, quote, a good man with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. Earlier this month, as Trump issued a proclamation declaring February as Black History Month, he said, quote, from the very beginning, our country has been blessed with countless Black American heroes. The president's proclamation follows actions to eliminate DEI policies. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Worker pay has risen over the past decade, but so has the gap between executives and their employees.
Starbucks CEO Brian Niccol makes $1,794 times what the average worker at his company makes. The Seattle Times found the median pay for employees, many of them part-time, is just over $17,000 a year. Niccol's compensation is nearly $31 million, but that includes stock. Companies often tie CEO pay to stock and therefore the success of the company. And as the markets have soared, so has top executive pay. Heather Bosch, CBS News, Seattle.
Union organizers have pointed to Niccol's compensation at the St. Louis or the Seattle-based coffee giant as a reason to demand better worker pay.
It's 6:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
When your land demands more power, versatility, and reliability, our John Deere 5E 3-cylinder series delivers. Right now, at Seidenstriger Nobe Partners, take advantage of an offer built for bigger jobs and ready for every season. Get 0% financing for 84 months or $5,000 off 5E 3-cylinder tractors. Visit Essen Partners for more details. Side & Stricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 2/28/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? Bernie Miklasz.
The most important thing you can have in football is a great quarterback. And yeah, the head coach benefits. But Bill Belichick also drafted Tom Brady, and he chose Tom Brady as his starter over Drew Bledsoe when Drew Bledsoe was still pretty good. And it all comes from a place where people just can't stand Bill Belichick.
Bernie Miklasz. Hear what he has to say on the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, it's clear, 56 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's see how the roads look. Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're doing better out west on eastbound 70, Tom. They cleared that stalled box truck or tractor trailer, whatever it was. I couldn't tell, but it was in the right lane. They pulled it away, so right lane's open. Traffic's jammed, though, on eastbound 70, east of Forestell, toward David Hokel Parkway. It opens up before you get to David Hokel Parkway, and after that, there's just a little slowdown at Wentzville Parkway, just volume unwinding. So better than it was, obviously. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down to 64. That's a little busy as well. I still can't tell what's blocking. It's probably a stall, could be a crash. Northbound 270 just before 64. It's just behind the overpass and the signs, but traffic is backed up almost to Doherty Ferry on northbound 270 right now. Obviously, there is lane blockage there. It's a little slow at Gravois on North 270 as well. Northbound 55, the right lane's a little slow north of Butler Hill. All lanes bogged down Union Road overpass to River to Pear. Westbound 64, a little slow now through that work zone at 159 and then slow on the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be a beautiful day today. It's breezy. It's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 72 degrees, 50 overnight. Then tomorrow's high 70, but we've got thunderstorms moving through, thunderstorms that could produce hail and damaging winds. So that means cooler temperatures for Friday into the weekend. 48 Friday, 44 Saturday, 38 on Sunday. Right now it's 56 degrees downtown.
With dry winter air hitting a lot of Missourians hard, many people dealing with sinus trouble are wondering if there's anything that can help them bounce back faster. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports.
MU Healthcare's Dr. Albert Kong says there isn't a data-driven way to speed up recovery, but there are things you can do to make the symptoms easier to manage.
That's taking oral and nasal decongestant sprays, staying hydrated, making sure you're limiting further contact with people, increasing the humidity, in your household.
Kong tells Missouri Net when it comes to the flu, there is medicine a doctor can prescribe that may help you feel better a little sooner. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
What's on your mind when it comes to things that impact your health?
We're really trying to do a better job of listening to the public, listening to the community to find out what do they know and not know about health? What are they hearing about health? What questions do they have?
That's Matthew Kruder, Director of Health Communication Research Laboratory in the School of Public Health at Washington University. For the last 4.5 years, the lab has operated I Heard St. Louis. Weekly surveys of St. Louis residents offer insights on what the public is thinking about current topics like vaccines, microwaves, and autism. You can find out more at stl.iheard.org.
Team USA took home a silver medal in men's speed skating and freestyle skiing, bringing the U.S. medal count to 21 so far. Italy and Norway still hold the lead overall. Kelly O'Grady with details.
They're teammates and friends. They call themselves the Blade Angels. On a mission to get Team USA's first women's Olympic individual medal in 2 decades, something 1992 gold medalist Kristi Yamaguchi knows how to do.
It's imperative to have a clean short. Missing one element is so detrimental. And you want to set yourself up, right, for a chance. Add a medal at the gold with that short program.
For Amber Glenn, that chance likely disappeared with a major mistake, placing her 13th.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute coming up next. It's 6:34.
The Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament has been the showcase for buzzer beaters, madness, and championship glory. With nearly 5 decades of heart-racing excitement, it begins here at Enterprise Center. The 2026 State Farm MVC Tournament, presented by Credit Union One, Great Southern Bank, and SSM Health, tips off on March 5th through 8th. Celebrate 50 years of the Valley's postseason championship. Get your tickets now at archmadness.com.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
6:35 Money Minute on KMOX from Bloomberg, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Berkshire Hathaway slashed its stake in Amazon by more than 75% in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, Berkshire acquired 5.1 million shares of the New York Times in the 3 months through December, a stake worth close to $352 million at year-end. The company first bought a stake in Amazon back in 2019 and now owns roughly 2.3 million shares of the company. The moves were the last by Berkshire's longtime CEO Warren Buffett before stepping away. Investors today are looking to hear from online travel company Booking about its plans to deal with the rising threat posed by large language AI models that are shifting travel planning habits. Analysts say AI platforms in the near future could make online travel agencies less relevant by increasing competition. Booking, though, is likely on track for its third straight period of double-digit earnings growth amid strong travel demand. Taking a look at the futures, both the Dow and the S&P 500 are both in the green, with the Dow up around 0.5%, while the S&P has gained about 0.6%. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today, and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 442 unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber. First in line for the HVAC guy. First at Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be the first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardy and Pella replacement windows specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050 or check them out on the web at bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It's men's Billikens basketball action Friday night as they face VCU. Pregame 5:45, tip at 6 on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
It is now 6:39. A new lawsuit over data centers. This time, a group of Montgomery County citizens, Preserve Montgomery County LLC or PMC, is suing the county commission over the Missouri Department of Economic Development over an Amazon data center project along I-70 and Highway 19.
The lawsuit alleges repeated violations of the state's sunshine law, failure to give legally required notices to taxing districts, and taxpayers in improperly approving a massive tax incentive package. PMC wants the whole thing invalidated with civil penalties for sunshine violations and their attorney's fees paid.
Governor Pritzker will unveil his budget plan for Illinois today in Springfield.
With Illinois set to absorb massive federal funding cuts from the Trump administration, the governor is expected to present a more conservative budget for 2027 in his State of the State address to the General Assembly. Pritzker will outline his plan to balance a budget with a projected $2 billion deficit with a possible $4 billion tax package aimed at taxing the ultra-wealthy and corporations. The governor's eighth budget address comes as he seeks re-election for a third term and a possible 2028 run for president.
That is Mallory Vorbroker reporting.
This is Roger Brand on traffic. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our trouble spot on northbound 270 at 64, Tom. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies, and thanks to our KMOX commuter John, who helped clear things up for me there. It's a multi-car crash in the two left lanes just south of 64. Police were on the way. I saw some flashing lights a moment ago coming up past Clayton Road, so they may be behind it now. I just can't tell again. But North 270 slow, Sappington Road overpass through Gravois, like midway to 44, and then it slows approaching Big Bend, jams at Manchester, again up to the crash in the left lanes at 64. Eastbound Highway 70, still a little slow around Weathersville Parkway and Highway A from earlier incidents. Southbound 61, Highway P down onto 64 through Prospect. That's kind of slow. Northbound 55 backs up Union Road overpass to River to Pear. Westbound 64 bogged down both sides of 159 and approaching the Poplar. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing your checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
It is 6:41. Let's get you an update on the forecast. Today is going to feel like April, but it'll go back to February. Never worry. Joe Lundberg has all the details.
Yeah, if you look at the April normals, late April, and to be specific, 72 would be the high on April 29th. And that's where we're going today, close to the record of 74 that was set back in 1971. And we'll do it with a lot of sunshine and a pretty good breeze this morning. It starts to back down this afternoon, but just nice to be out and about. Partly cloudy tonight, though 50. Tomorrow still warm with changeable skies. Watch out for a thunderstorm in the afternoon. There could be some gusty winds or even some hail with any thunderstorm that does race through the area, the high 70. But then reality sets in. It's much cooler starting on Friday. Sunshine, some clouds, only 48. Even chillier Saturday and Sunday. More sun than clouds on Saturday, the high 44. Partly sunny Sunday, upper 30s. Then it moderates pretty quickly early next week. Currently 59 degrees at St. Peter's and in Florissant. It's mainly clear, 58 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. It's 6:42, sports in 3 minutes. New figures from the state of Illinois show cannabis sales fell by 13% last year. Nancy Hardy takes a look.
Revenue from recreational cannabis sales fell while the number of items sold went up. The Tribune reports that's due to lower prices, which were about $400 an ounce when legal sales started in the state in 2020 and are now about $167 an ounce. The Cannabis Equity Illinois Coalition blames competition from hemp as well as taxes and security requirements for dispensaries and growing facilities. The number of dispensaries continues to grow, with 216 registered in the state as of December.
A high-stakes $7 billion settlement for Roundup litigation is now before a St. Louis judge. The filing comes just weeks before the U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments on whether the federal law should have blocked these state-level suits. Michael Calhoun asked legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum.
Why would Bayer agree to $7 billion now when potentially it seems like the Supreme Court could say you're not liable for any of this in just a few months?
you know what? They're playing Russian roulette, Michael. They're saying, you know what? We would rather lock down a set number, a sum that we can cover. We can cover this. And, this thing has bogged us down for many, many years. We have taken that particular ingredient out of the mixture, and we're selling the weed killer without it, even though we're claiming it's inconclusive whether it's the cause of cancer. But it's really making it impossible for us to run our company. So let's get a resolution here.
The plan would distribute funds over 2 decades to patients diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
A federal court rules more than 16,000 people jailed in the workhouse from 2012 to 2022 are eligible to apply for part of a $4 million settlement for inhumane conditions.
The executive director of Art City Defenders, Blake Strode, tells KMOX they do not know where those 16,000 plus people are, but they need to apply within 120 days.
The eligibility for this lawsuit goes back to 2012. And so people have moved, people's life circumstances have changed in all sorts of ways. And so part of what we're trying to do is really get the word out far and wide so that as many people as possible can make claims.
Determining how much each person can receive is complicated. Strode says to be eligible, you had to be in the workhouse for at least 3 consecutive days. And he adds the amount people will receive, that depends on the number of claims. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
We have the website and phone number to file claims at KMOX.com. Well, this was bound to happen. We've been talking about this all month, how the Billikens have been slow in the first half. They bury teams in the second half. And at some point, if those shots don't fall, could they end up falling? And it happened last night. 81-76, Rhode Island beat SLU, just beating them at their own game, knocking down threes, creating turnovers, causing all kinds of problems. And the Billikens could never get it going. They dropped their first game in almost 3 months. An 18-game winning streak comes to an end. Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. with Coach Josh Schertz.
And Coach Schertz has made his way over. Appreciate that. Well, it's been a magical 18-game winning streak run, and winning is hard, and winning is hard on the road. It was a tough one tonight.
Yeah, we just, we got outplayed. Credit Rhode Island. They were the much better team. We if that ish 3 goes in and we get an overtime, we win. I would have felt like we stole one, but I would have felt like we stole one. I didn't think we deserved to win. Certainly, I wanted to, but we didn't deserve it. We've been playing with fire. We've this is what we've been doing. Is trying to come in games and and we kind of like take the temperature of the game and try to figure out what we're going to do, and we're lackadaisical and. We come out and we lose Hinton 2 or 3 times, who's we talked about as an elite shooter. If you look at the keys of the game, it was going to be a super physical game. Rhode Island's very physical. We had to be physical on both ends. We had to do a great job in terms of our point of attack defense. Locating Hinton. We did some good things, but we got driven a bunch.
They did. Hinton dropped 9 threes on them, and Rhode Island wins at 81-76. Now the Billikens will be playing to keep VCU off of them in the standings in the A-10. VCU rolls in here on Friday night with a chance to tie SLU at the top of the conference. That's what Southeast Missouri State did last night. They went to Tennessee Martin and won in overtime, 56-53. Southeast Missouri State is now in a first-place tie atop the OVC. 22nd ranked Miami of Ohio State unbeaten. They're 26-0. They won at UMass 86-77. Number 1 Michigan now 25-1. They win at Purdue 91-80, knocking off the 7th ranked Boilermakers. Number 9 Nebraska loses at Iowa 57-52. And in another upset, NC State just crushed number 16 North Carolina in Raleigh 82-58. Let's get the latest national news from Gethin Coolbaugh as we take a look at what's happening around the country and, quite frankly, around the world.
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. Japan has upstaged the United States in the short program of the women's figure skating competition at the Milan Cortina Olympics. Ami Nakai and teammate Kaori Sakamoto were 1-2 in the standings Tuesday night, while Alyssa Liu of the U.S. was third. College basketball, number 1 Michigan held off number 7 Purdue 91-80. Wolverines guard Elliot Cadeau scored 14 of his 17 points after halftime halftime and added 7 assists.
I felt like I was being aggressive in the first half. The shots weren't just falling, and they started to fall in the second half.
Former Nuggets coach Doug Moe has died at 87. Tony Clark resigned as head of the MLB Players Association after an investigation discovered evidence he had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law. And in golf, 15-time major champion Tiger Woods isn't ruling out a return at this year's Masters. Gethin Coolbaugh, AP Sports.
Big news about Tony Clark. We'll get a Cardinals update from Matt Pauley at 7:15. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Design your own custom home in our Parkside, Nature, or Tradition series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
St. Louis has a voice.
This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
The St. Louis Blues are the Stanley Cup champions.
From moment to memory.
Now there is only one Berlin.
Among those voices, Wendy Weiss.
We'll have more on a troop deployment to Bosnia.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Now, the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:51 in time to check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we've still got our trouble spot on northbound 270, unfortunately. This traffic reports a service at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Police are on the scene. They say there's 3 cars. Left lane's blocked, north 270 just before 64. North 270 is slow from 55 to Tesson Ferry, approaching Gravois most of the way to 44, and then bogs down at Big Bend, jams at Doherty Ferry up to the crash at 64. So obviously getting heavier there. Southbound 61, we have either a crash or a stall, can't tell. About midway down from Highway P to Wentzville Parkway, traffic's jammed about midway back between W and P on southbound 61. Once you get around that, it's still slow crossing over onto 64 to the Boulevard. Eastbound 70, a couple of spots from Highway A through Lake St. Louis Boulevard, Bryan Road area where it's kind of slow. Northbound 55, the usual delays. Union Road overpass up across the river to Pear. Westbound 64, heavy both sides of 159 in the construction zone, and then it's slow from the 70 split to the Poplar. And eastbound 64, they're still doing emergency repair work at 15th Street. It's heavy back at 70. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Joe Lundberg's forecast, breezy this morning, sunny and warm this afternoon, a high of 72, partly cloudy, low 50 tonight. Tomorrow, a high of 70 with a chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. It's 57 right now.
The news continues at 6:53. The school district of Clayton is looking to a neighboring campus to help solve a construction logjam as the district formulates plans for facility upgrades. Superintendent Dr. Nisha Patel says a partnership with Washington University could provide a temporary home for elementary students.
We don't have the details finalized. We're still working with WashU. And what that could look like is having a bridge, what we're calling a bridge campus on Fontbonne property, and utilizing that athletic center for the gym and the cafeteria portion of it.
Prop O would appear on the April ballot. It would be a zero tax rate increase bond issue for renovations at Glenridge Elementary, Gay Field, and the high school.
The Trump administration says its demand for Illinois to review thousands of commercial driver's licenses is about safety, but state leaders say it's unnecessary. Here's political editor Jeff Buchholz.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says it's legal for non-citizens to receive commercial driver's licenses or learner's permits, but he says an audit of Illinois records shows more than 10,000 people whose licenses don't expire until well after their legal status in the U.S. runs out, or whose status was never reviewed by the state. The administration wants the situation addressed within 30 days, or it'll pull $128 million in federal highway funding. A spokesperson for Secretary of State Alexi Janulius says the office believes its CDL program is in substantial compliance with the new guidance, but it's reviewing the Fed's findings.
New local measles concerns. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. 2 newly confirmed cases in the St. Louis area, one in an out-of-state traveler who went through Lambert a week ago Friday, another who attended Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Collinsville a week ago Saturday. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
Vaccination rates for MMR, measles, mumps, rubella, have not been high enough to prevent community transmission. So we've seen this big outbreak in Texas, but now smaller outbreaks in other states. We're also seeing importations from other countries. So returning travelers from outside the country is driving some of this as well. The most contagious infectious disease known to man. And so as a result, the levels of vaccination that you need to prevent transmission are exceedingly high. So you need to have over 95%. So yeah, you might say 92.7%, which is the sort of average right now among kindergartners. That might sound pretty good, but it's not. It's not nearly enough. And especially when you consider that many communities are well below that. The World Health Organization and other countries will recommend a first dose as young as 6 to 9 months. And frankly, pediatricians may want to start thinking about giving an extra dose at that earlier age, particularly in a community where there is active transmission.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Yoko Ono.
Do we have any of your music you can play this morning?
I do not.
Okay.
You want to take a guess?
83.
93.
Oh my gosh.
How about
93.
that? I know. Let's talk about Dal Maxville for a moment. 87. Dal Maxville, born on this date in 1939. Shortstop, general manager, coach, St. Louis Cardinals. Went to Wash U, played ball there from Granite City. Just a great St. Louis story. Dal Maxville, 87 today, as we look over some of the celebrity birthdays. Those are the 2 big ones that jumped out to me, but here's another one. Let's see. You can get this one, I bet. John Travolta.
71.
You're pretty good at this. 72. I knew you would get close on that one. Travolta. Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre is 63.
61. Yeah, it's pretty good.
in the ballpark.
Pretty good day for celebs, but the local celebs a little thin.
I know. No local celebrity birthdays today, which are sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. It does happen occasionally, but if you would like a birthday or anniversary announced during this segment, just email it to totalam@KMOX.com.
This is the best birthday ever.
McKelvey Homes, 128. That's how old they are. Starting in 1898, McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey. McKelvey Homes will absolutely take great care of you. I mean, they are all about the great home sites in St. Louis. They will 100% follow through with you. Their president, Jim Brennan, is a good person. I've known him a long time. Their home sites, in particular, I've been looking at Wildwood, Cottleville, O'Fallon, Missouri. If you look at the reserve at Wildwood, you look at Cottleville Trails, you look at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon, and many other places in between, McKelvey Homes has the best home sites in the St. Louis area. Visit them at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. Again, that's McKelveyHomes.com, 1898. They're Missouri's oldest home builder. McKelvey Homes.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed only $59.99. Saturday, March 7th at the Residence Inn by Marriott St. Louis Westport in St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis starts at 11 a.m. Registration at 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking starts at 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
It's a great time, if there's ever a great time, to purchase a furnace or an air conditioner. I know it's winter. We got some great pricing. You can get 0% financing. So if you have been told that you need a new furnace, definitely give me a call. I could probably save you lots of money. Get a second opinion. Call me. Next day installs for your furnace so you won't be without heat very long. A furnace average install about 2-3 hours for a furnace. So not a big issue to do it now. And like I said, great pricing. So if that's you, call me. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Just the easiest number. And there's one. 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, it is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A massive search is underway for 9 missing backcountry skiers after an avalanche near Lake Tahoe in Northern California. A search and rescue team is up against dangerous conditions. Correspondent Matt Gutman reports.
Overnight crews were able to reach 6 of the 15 skiers who'd survived the avalanche. They had been told to shelter in place and waited for hours for rescuers to arrive.
Too much snow.
Blizzard-like conditions with blinding snow and punishing winds have pummeled the area for the past 2 days. It's part of a series of powerful winter storms that have smothered the western United States.
Those powerful winds from Texas to Colorado forced Corey Espinosa from her home in Elbert.
I was leaving the house. I just got out of the shower and I hauled butt over here. I just really hope nothing happens to our friend's farm.
Gusty winds are blamed for near brownout conditions that triggered a 30-car pileup on Interstate 25. At least 4 people were killed. Those winds have been so strong, firefighters haven't been able to use helicopters or planes to drop water on the flames. Now to Tucson, where the search for Savannah Guthrie's 84-year-old mother, Nancy, is entering its 18th day. Correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti is there.
As hundreds of investigators aid in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the FBI confirms DNA found on the glove 2 miles from her home is not a match in the federal criminal database. The Pima County Sheriff's Department says they'll now look to see if the DNA matches any profiles in commercial genealogy databases.
The Supreme Court will start using software to identify conflicts of interest among its justices.
The software will scan the stock ticker symbols and other disclosures of the parties in each case to see if any of the justices have potential conflicts. Justices are required to recuse themselves from cases in which they own the stock of one of the parties. The court's latest financial disclosures show Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Samuel Alito are the only justices who own individual stocks. A few weeks ago, Alito recused himself from an environmental case because he owned stock in an oil and gas company that was involved. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Now a check-in on the American figure skaters at the Winter Olympics. CBS's Kelly O'Grady from Milan.
Expectations were high after Alyssa Liu and Amber Glenn helped the U.S. nab the team figure skating gold. A strong performance from Liu left her in third going into Thursday's free skate event. Glenn landed her most difficult jump, the triple axel, but failed to complete a triple loop.
Team USA did pick up a pair of silver medals on the slopes. Dow futures are up 61. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here. Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring. Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now. JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday, scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet. Just a couple things, huh? Maybe more than a couple.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-959-3388. That's 800-959-3388.
It is now 7:04. We've got sunshine, 56 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. That temperature is going to rise, and AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg has a fantastic forecast for us coming up in just a few minutes. Lambert Airport is leaving other mid-sized cities' airports in the dust.
Attention the baggage carousel.
A breakdown by the aviation news outlet Simple Flying looked at flight schedules between April and September and found that long-haul departures from St. Louis are up a massive 169% compared to last year. That growth is more than triple that of the next closest cities on the list. Indianapolis saw a 48% bump, Pittsburgh at 40%. That shows just how dramatic the St. Louis airport turnaround has been. In 2025, St. Louis ranked second to last among the 47 U.S. airports with long-haul service. This year's surge catapults the airport to 35th place nationally. The report credits the expansion in capacity to a perfect storm. Lufthansa is increasing its Frankfurt flights from 3 days a week to 5, while British Airways prepares to launch its new service to London Heathrow in April. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Because of a federal judge, John Ross's ruling, video lottery terminals are illegal in Missouri outside of casinos. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page issued an executive order yesterday.
And in that order, Dr. Page has directed his revenue department to inform all liquor license owners in unincorporated St. Louis County.
We're in the process of communicating with liquor license holders in St. Louis County. The recent court ruling establishing VLTs as gambling devices, and that our county ordinances don't allow illegal gambling with a liquor license.
Page says he's not interested in an enforcement action. Instead, he wants businesses to follow the law. If they do not comply, they risk suspension or revocation. This also applies to gas stations or any other business that has a license to sell alcohol. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A couple of measles cases have been reported across the St. Louis area.
Illinois health officials say the state's first confirmed measles case involves an adult in the Metro East area at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Collinsville. People attending church there on February 8th between 8 a.m. and 12:15 p.m. were potentially exposed to measles. The church has notified congregants of the exposure. St. Louis County and Missouri health officials, meanwhile, say an out-of-state resident with the measles traveled through Lambert Airport a week ago, Friday, February 7th, between 5 and 7 p.m. The person was in Terminal 2 at baggage claim and rode parking spot shuttle 3 to the parking area. After exposure, measles symptoms can take from 7 to 21 days to develop. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A tragic loss in Tower Grove East turning into a lasting tribute for young athletes. Reed Maynard, the partner of shooting victim Sam Linehan, says his world is shattered following the senseless killing at a Starbucks drive-thru last week. In response, he's launched a scholarship fund to honor Linehan's passion for figure skating. That fund will help cover costs for skaters at the Metro Edge Figure Skating Club in Webster Groves. Police have charged 58-year-old Keith Lamont Brown with murder in connection with that shooting.
From the KMOX business desk, should we ignore bad news because the Dow hit 50,000? Chris and Amy asked KMOX Money Show host Dave Simons with One Private Wealth if that milestone is a big deal.
Yes and no. The yes part is,
Yeah, it's a reflection of how far this market has come, done extremely well from a psychological standpoint. Yes, that's all good news, and it gets people talking.
On the other hand, historically, major Dow milestones like this often represent the top, followed by a recession or dark period for the economy. And he points out the Dow is a representation of corporate earnings and not what average people are feeling about their own economic situation.
How are you feeling about spring-like weather today? We'll have the latest on that and the update from the roadways coming up next on Total Information AM at 7:08.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX for the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-all-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
710, Roger Branson, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, unfortunately, Tom, we still have our trouble spot on northbound 270 that our KMOX commuter John called in about when I wasn't sure what was going on there. He confirmed it was a crash in the left lane, North 270 at 64. North 270 slowed down north of 55 through Gravois. There's a little backup coming up through Big Bend. It looks like there may be an incident there, and then it's pretty solid from Doherty Ferry all the way up to 64. And again, those left lanes are still shut down at that point. We have other delays. Eastbound Highway 70 is kind of busy. Lake St. Louis to Bryan Road, that's better than it was, but it looks like we have an incident now just past Cave Springs, either a stall or a crash. It's backed up near 370. Southbound 61, you've still got that incident blocking midway down from P to Wentzville Parkway. Traffic's backed up almost to Highway W, and that's a solid jam, unfortunately, there. If you're on northbound 55, Bayless up to River to Pears, heavy. Eastbound 64, roadwork going on at 15th Street in the right lanes has a jam back to 70 eastbound. Westbound 64 from 50 through 159 is backed up, and then it's slow approaching the Poplar. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A breezy start to the day today, mostly sunny, unseasonably warm. Our high 72, the record of 74 was set in 1971. Partly cloudy tonight, though 50. Clouds and breaks of sun tomorrow and warm. It'll become breezy too. Watch out for an afternoon thunderstorm that could produce hail or damaging winds. Tomorrow's high near 70. Much cooler and breezy Friday with sunshine and some clouds, high 48. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have sunshine in downtown St. Louis. It's 56 degrees.
It's now 7:12, and today marks the beginning of both Lent and Ramadan.
Lent and Ramadan only overlap about once every 30 years. It's a time when Christians and Muslims practice fasting, prayer, and acts of charity. Marianne Farina is a faculty member at the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley.
It's a disciplined time. It allows us to end the types of distractions that keep us away from focusing on God.
The first day of Lent is based on the solar Gregorian calendar, determined by counting 46 days backwards from Easter. Meanwhile, Ramadan begins on the first evening of the 9th month in the Islamic lunar calendar. Zuhaib Sadiq is a board member at the Islamic Center of San Francisco.
Muslims around the world, traditionally, we go and see when the actual moon is sighted with our own eyes.
Both seasons of religious reflection starting on the same exact day may not happen again for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. Virginia Van Zant, KCBS.
You know, obviously, it's a very sad day when any of our icons leave us.
Michael McMillan, president of the Urban League, reflecting on the news of Jesse Jackson's passing at the age of 84.
He has been sick for a long time, and, you know, you kind of saw this coming, but obviously his passing is still a very sad moment.
McMillan was a guest on the Chris and Amy show.
New figures from the state of Illinois show cannabis sales fell by 13% last year. Nancy Hardy takes a look.
Revenue from recreational cannabis sales fell while the number of items sold went up. The Tribune reports that's due to lower prices, which were about $400 an ounce when legal sales started in the state in 2020 and are now about $167 an ounce. The Cannabis Equity Illinois Coalition blames competition from hemp as well as taxes and security requirements for dispensaries and growing facilities. The number of dispensaries continues to grow, with 216 registered in the state as of December.
Missourians may no longer be able to order Kansas City Chiefs license plates under a new proposal moving through the legislature. Bowling Green Republican and House Speaker Pro Tem Chad Perkins has filed a bill after the Chiefs announced they're moving to Kansas.
If I've given you everything you ask and treated you like a little princess and you leave anyway, well, then maybe I need to take a different tactic.
Under the bill, any Chiefs plates issued before the 2026 cutoff would still be valid.
If you've been looking to add a pet to your home, the St. Louis County Pet Adoption Center is waiving adoption fees starting today. The shelter is full, and the public health director says with more than 170 dogs and 34 cats on site, this emergency adoption event will continue until the shelter is able to achieve humane care. Numbers will be reevaluated daily. Aside from waiving the $80 adoption fee, each animal is spayed or neutered, up to date on shots, and microchipped. The shelter is also looking for foster families. It's 7:15. Tough one last night for SLU, but Josh Schertz saw it coming. His team had been playing up and down for pretty much all month here in February, and yesterday it caught up with them. The Billikens lost at Rhode Island 81-76.
Made bad rim decisions, and when we did make the right rim decision, we didn't make the layup. I mean, some of them were actually good rim decisions. We just, I mean, we airballed multiple layups, or we just drove it, and we were, and like had layups and, flung the ball at the backboard.
And that was in opportunities that they were given because Rhode Island was out guarding the three. Any chances they had for short range shots, it just went awry for SLU, and they ended up losing this game 81-76. First loss in almost 3 months. They had an 18-game winning streak. They're now 24-2, but they're only a game in front of VCU in the Atlantic 10 standings. And look who's coming in on Friday night to Chaffetz Arena, VCU. 6 o'clock tip-off right here on KMOX. Southeast Missouri State, meanwhile, moved into a first-place tie in the Ohio Valley Conference. They win in overtime at Tennessee Martin, 56-53. Miami of Ohio stays unbeaten, only undefeated team in college basketball. 22nd-ranked Red Hawks won at UMass, 86-77. They are 26-0. Michigan's 25-1, number one team in the country, wins at number 7 Purdue, 91-80. Iowa knocks off number 9 Nebraska, 57-52, and NC State just drills number 16 North Carolina, 82-58. Tony Clark is resigning as the executive director of the Major League Baseball Players Association. This announcement came down yesterday, but there is more to it. Clark is stepping down as a possible salary cap fight looms during a federal investigation of its finances, and Clark was asked to resign by the 8-man executive subcommittee of the Players Association after an investigation by the union's outside counsel discovered evidence that Clark had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, a union employee since 2023. Now let's head to Jupiter.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And by Happy Roof, we always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
As the Cardinals look for right-handed options in the outfield, a number of internal candidates have emerged. Thomas Saggese and Jose Fermin are doing a lot of outfield work so far in camp. Fermin has played there a little bit in his career, but it's something brand new for Saggese. The club is even looking at Saggese in center field. This all is still very much in the evaluation process, according to manager Oliver Marmol.
First, we're going to take a look at it in a practice setting and just see how they take to it. And our hope is that it goes well, and then we can start to see what it looks like in a game and create a rotation for it. But at the moment, we're just getting in a little bit of work, getting some feedback from those guys, but also evaluating from Jay's eyes and seeing where we're at.
Non-roster invitee Nelson Velasquez also has a chance to swing his way onto the roster. In 2023, he hit 17 home runs and just 162 at-bats. If he can show that power, it could bring some much-needed right-handed thunder to the Cardinals' outfield mix.
He's got some thump in that bat, and from a adjustability standpoint, just seeing what that looks like, but getting real looks at him in games and seeing how he reacts to it's going to be important. Obviously, a right-handed bat has been something that we've talked about and are in need of. So, yeah, we'll see what it looks like and go from there.
Even Ivan Herrera continues to do some work with the outfielders. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Hawley, KMOX Sports.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Winter is tough on homes. Ice and wind often lead hidden damage you can't see from the ground. Don't wait for the first spring showers to discover a leak. Get the Happy Roofers Spring Readiness Checkup today. We perform a thorough, risk-free inspection to ensure your roof is solid. With our Spring Smile Guarantee, you get guaranteed workmanship and total peace of mind. We always deliver happy endings. Visit thehappyroofer.com or call 314-665-3001.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here. Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring. Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now. JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet. Just a couple things, huh? Maybe more than a couple.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:21. What does it mean that there's a multi-billion-dollar roundup settlement? We'll try to explain coming up after we check traffic and weather, starting with Roger Brandon, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, we still have our backup on North 270, Debbie. We had a crash just south of 64. North 270 is slow from 55 through Gravois, and it's stop-and-go pockets from south of Big Bend or north of 44, depending on how you want to look at it, all the way up to Highway 64. Southbound 61, they cleared that crash midway between P and Wentzville Parkway, but now they're clearing an incident at Highway P, so it's a solid jam from W to P, and then it opens up southbound 61. Eastbound 70, Lake St. Louis Boulevard through Bryan Road, slow through T.R. Hughes. It jams east of the Spencer Road overpass up to Cave Springs. The crash was in the left lane. They moved it over to the right lane on eastbound 70. Eastbound 64 a little busy through Prospect. Andy Guns to about Timberlake. North or westbound 64 a little heavy Hampton to Hanley. Westbound 44 roadwork delays Jefferson to Grand. Northbound 55 backed up Union Road to River to Pear. Eastbound 64 jammed from the 70 split to 15th Street due to roadwork. Westbound 64 50 through 159 is heavy. Next update at 7:30 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we're going to have a nice one today. You can already see it. Sun is out. Temperature starting to rise. A high of 72 degrees today. Then a low around 50 tonight, and tomorrow it's going to be warm again, but we're going to have a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon with a high tomorrow of 70 degrees. Currently it's sunny, 57 downtown at the Arch.
Well, as we continue on KMOX and Total Information AM, Michael Calhoun with you. And we've been reporting that Bayer is proposing a $7.25 billion settlement to resolve future claims against the Roundup weed killer. They inherited that from the Monsanto acquisition. This proposal filed in circuit court in St. Louis. It would establish a payment structure over the course of 2 decades for cases that are in both state and federal courts right now. And joining us on KMOX to break this down and find out what it means for this St. Louis company is CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Thane.
Anytime for you, Michael. You know that.
Yeah. So tell us, first of all, why the St. Louis Circuit Court, as opposed to, many of these were filed in California, for instance. Tell us about the geography here.
Agriculture. These are wherever this product was being used. The weed killer there's an element, an ingredient within the formula that the allegation is that it causes non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so therefore, in states that had much more rural and agricultural areas, you find more claims. There were 200,000 claims in this class settlement and 125,000 plaintiffs. So they're all pretty much in red states, but this one was centered. But they were all over the country. This just happens to be the locus of where this class action settlement will be made. But there were, again, 200,000 cases. Only about 20 of them were resolved, literally like half and half. 11 was in favor of Bayer, 11 was in favor of the plaintiffs. So there was, sort of mixed outcomes here. And I wouldn't get too excited about the settlement because, frankly, Michael, when you take a good look at it, you realize with 200,000 people, with 200,000 claims and 125,000 people, most people who got cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, will get about $10,000, and that's nothing. And so this is a symbolic remedy. It's not really a financial remedy. A lot of people will opt out of the class. You don't have to settle. You could say, wait a minute, let me see. You telling me I'm going to get $10,000? You know what? Let's go ahead. I'm going to file my own lawsuit and stay in this because this isn't sufficient enough for me. So I think that it's not clear. Also, the Supreme Court has a case right now that will be argued in April, just in a few months. And that case involves the same weed killer. And the issue there is that Bayer is saying, well, wait a minute. If the EPA said we can use this product without a cancer warning, then why are we getting sued? Why are we getting sued in state court if the independent federal agency dealing with environmental protection told us that this element doesn't actually cause cancer? We don't have to give a warning. And so the Supreme Court is going to be discussing that. So that could change the settlement also based on what the Supreme Court rules.
Yeah, I was going to ask, with this preemption argument up there, just in a couple of months coming up in April, why would Bayer agree to $7 billion now when potentially it seems like the Supreme Court could say you're not liable for any of this in just a few months?
You know what? They're playing Russian roulette, Michael. They're saying, you know what? We would rather lock down a set number, a sum that we can cover. We can cover this. And, this thing has bogged us down for many, many years. We have taken that particular ingredient out of the mixture, and we're selling the weed killer without it, even though we're claiming it's inconclusive whether it's the cause of cancer. But it's really making it impossible for us to run our company. So let's get a resolution here. If the case in the Supreme Court rules in favor of the plaintiffs, then it goes in the other direction, and that this settlement could seem like a bargain, because then if this number is off the table and everyone is saying Bayer had an affirmative duty to put a cancer warning on the label, then all of a sudden this number will be very, very small. So they're playing a game of chicken, both sides, right? They're both saying, you know what, let's get a sum certain. because we really have no idea what's going to happen in the Supreme Court. And how you know that? Because, as I said, of the cases that have gone to a jury or have been resolved, they're pretty much half and half. Half go to bears, half goes. So you have no idea what the Supreme Court will rule. So they took a chance, by saying, look, let's just at least know what we're at the outside, what we're liable to pay.
That is CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum chatting with KMOX's Michael Calhoun. It is 7:28 and the Time Check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Last year, I had back pain radiating down my right leg. The pain was so bad I was willing to cut my leg off to stop the pain. I could barely walk and had to stoop over when I did just to take pressure off the spine. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. In my professional career, I've represented thousands of people who've had herniated discs and issues with their neck and back, but never fully appreciated what they were going through until it was my turn. It's like trying to describe colors to a blind person who's never had sight. All I can tell you is it hurt like hell, but worse. My daily walk was gone, and that bothered me a great deal. Then I thought of all of you and how much more devastating this type of injury could be for you. My life stopped. I now feel your pain. Just know at Morgan & Morgan, we got your back. I understand. Morgan means more.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hey, Happy New Year, big boy. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Also known as the Kool-Aid Man. You got any New Year's resolutions?
I got one, Eddie. I've promised myself to spend more time on that toasty warm, huge, heated outdoor patio of yours. It's nothing like having your coat off, drinking the coldest beer in town with hundreds of your family, friends.
Man, it is a toasted patio, and that's a great resolution. And, thanks for not mentioning things like weight loss and health kick. And those would be hard in Fast Eddie's. It'd be hard to lose any kind of weight or take away from anything when you got the 5-pound Fat Eddie burger, the hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and those succulent peel-and-eat shrimp.
Yeah, I am not losing any weight hanging around your place. I learned it's a lot easier just to make those resolutions simple and fun, buddy.
Man, and that's easy. You're right. That's a great resolution. So make your resolution fun. And head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air. You know where to go across that big, beautiful Clark Bridge and come into Alton, Illinois. So like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, we'll see you at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Kool-Aid Man.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
It is 7:30, and right now we've got sunshine and 56 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We do have some volume out there, Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, pretty busy in a lot of spots, Tom. Northbound 270 bogged down as you ramp on from 55. It goes all the way up through Gravois, most of the way to 44, really. And then it's stop-and-go pockets from 44 all the way up through Manchester. They cleared the crash at 64, but it remains heavy all the way up through there into Ladue, obviously. South 270, Olive down to 64. That's pretty busy. Westbound 64, we have a crash or a stall near Spady, so it's backed up at Lindbergh to that one. Northbound to Highway 55, Union Road overpass up through River to Pears, pretty solid right now. By the way, westbound 64 Hampton to Big Bend is also heavy. Coming the other way, southbound 61, looks like we have an incident now, or maybe it's traffic unwinding, but it's backed up from just south of the Big Creek down through Highway W. Then it's opening up, and it backs up approaching Wentzville Parkway down onto 64 all the way up through Lake St. Louis Boulevard due to earlier problems. Long Road almost all the way to Timberlake, and then east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt, kind of busy. Eastbound Highway 70, Wentzville Parkway into 64, slow. Lake St. Louis through Bryan Road, K to TR Hughes, a jam from the Spencer Road overpass up through Cave Springs where that crash was in the right-hand lanes. Westbound 44, Jefferson to Grand, roadwork delays. Eastbound 64 backed up from the approaching 70 on to 15th Street. That's eastbound. Westbound 64, jam 50 to 159 and slow west of the 70 split to the Poplar. Next update at 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg saying that we're going to have a breezy day today. Warm, high 72, partly cloudy, low around 50 tonight. Warm tomorrow, but a thunderstorm in the afternoon and a high of 70. It's 57 right now.
Dry winter air in Missouri has many wondering if it's the flu, a cold, or allergies.
MU Healthcare's Dr. Albert Kong tells Missouri Net one clue is how long your symptoms linger. And if congestion or a runny nose keeps hanging on for more than a week or two, that may point to sinus problems.
Most virus sinus infections should self-resolve with time and supportive measures, staying hydrated, taking over-the-counter medications. The winter months are high flu seasons. Really, the season can also matter a lot as to whether you should pursue getting testing for flu or COVID.
State health leaders say Missouri has reached its highest number of reported flu cases of the season, with more than 9,000 cases reported by early January. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Also in the news, after 8 years of litigation, a federal court rules more than 16,000 people jailed at the now shuttered city workhouse are eligible for a settlement because of inhumane conditions.
This applies to people who were in the medium security institution, also known as the workhouse, between 2012 and 2022. Blake Strode is executive director of Arch City Defenders, and he tells KMOX the total settlement amount is $4 million.
That will be distributed over, as you said, more than 16,000 potential class members. And I say potential because it does require that class members submit a claim in order to receive a recovery under this settlement.
The claims period is 120 days. Arch City Defenders now trying to make contact with eligible people. We have the website and number to call to file a claim at KMOX.com. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The first spring flood outlook of the year finds a low probability of flooding as of right now. Mark Fuchs of the National Weather Service in St. Louis says things could change.
It becomes more likely because of the potential of heavier rains in the summer or even in the late spring.
He tells Missouri Net flooding is unlikely now due to the ongoing drought across the state and little snowpack in river watersheds.
It's 7:34. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check business next.
Amy, yes. I have a real beef with bathroom doors in hotels. The stupid sliding door. No, give me a fully shut door, because the sliding door, you know what happens? There's always a gap.
There's a gap.
And so if you have a partner with you in the hotel room, there are sounds and smells and steam.
It puts a new meaning to the word butt crack.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Dave. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free and 0% financing for 36 months, plus $500 off your project. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It is now going on 7:37. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey along with Tom Ackerman, and we've got the latest Money Minute for you from Bloomberg. It's sponsored this hour by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Meta Platforms is getting closer with the biggest name in artificial intelligence chip technology. The tech giant has struck a deal to purchase millions of NVIDIA processors. Meta plans to use NVIDIA's Grace CPUs for the first time and will also use products based on NVIDIA's current Blackwell generation of chips, as well as the forthcoming Vera Rubin design of AI accelerators. Minutes of the end of January Fed Reserve meeting will be released today and should reveal how broad the consensus was to hold rates steady after 3 straight cuts. Bloomberg Intelligence expects the minutes to show growing support for an extended hold on rates due to less than stellar signs in both the labor market and inflation. Intelligence, though, predicts that rates will be cut later this year. Berkshire Hathaway slashed its stake in Amazon by more than 75% in the fourth quarter and now holds roughly 2.3 million shares of the company. Meanwhile, Berkshire acquired 5.1 million shares of the New York Times in the 3 months through December, a stake worth close to $352 million at year-end. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
What matters to you matters to us. That's why Busey Bank takes the time to understand your goals and build solutions that fit your story. From everyday banking to long-term planning, our team is here to help you navigate every stage with care and expertise. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbor, your advisor, and your advocate. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
When it comes to lighting, Graybar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Graybar mode. Yep, Graybar does that.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
It's men's Billikens basketball action Friday night as they face VCU. Pre-game 5:45, tip at 6 on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
Boy, that's become a huge game now after SLU lost last night at Rhode Island. More coming up in sports in 4 minutes. First, Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, certainly very busy out there, Tom. This traffic report service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. As a matter of fact, if you're coming in on eastbound Highway 30, we've got a jam from Valley Dell all the way in through Gravois Bluffs right now. That's bumper to bumper. Don't often see something like that at the peak of the rush hour is what we're looking at. North 270 delays 55 to 44, and then there's pockets up through Manchester, remains busy all the way to Ladue. South 270, 364 Ladou's heavy. Southbound 61 back to seeing slow traffic. Highway P down onto 64 through to Ward Lake, St. Louis Boulevard. 70 around Bryan Road, K to TR Hughes. East of Mid Rivers up to Cave Springs where he had a crash. There's heavy stuff. 64 coming off of 61 onto Lake St. Louis Boulevard, like I said, but then Long Road through Clarkson. Pockets from Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley. 44 eastbound, a little busy Elmdale Laclede Station. 55 northbound Union Road overpass all the way up through Virginia. Westbound 64, 70 splits at the Poplar. Eastbound 64 backed up at 15th Street, and westbound 50 to 159's jammed in that work zone. Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. It's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
7:42. Joe Lundberg, our AccuWeather meteorologist, is joining us, and it looks like a beautiful day out the windows here at Studio B.
Nice and sunny right now, and we're going to keep that sunshine throughout the day, Debbie, and it's going to be warmer. Our high up to 72. We're already starting out around 60. The record of 74 from 1971 would be typical of late April. Tonight will become partly cloudy, low just 50. Changeable skies tomorrow, a little bit of sun, but watch out for a thunderstorm to rip through the area during the afternoon hours. We get one of those, there could be some gusty winds and hail associated with them, the high 70. That's tied to a cold front that means business behind it. Breezy, not cooler. There'll be a decent amount of sunshine Friday, but temperatures in the upper 40s. A chilly weekend coming up. Sunshine, some clouds Saturday, the high 44. Should turn out partly sunny Sunday, but highs in the upper 30s before temperatures moderate pretty quickly early next week. 59 at St. Peter's and at Florissant, up to 61 with sunshine downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joe, thanks very much. Sports coming up in just about 90 seconds. A statement from former Blues defenseman Robert Bortuzzo about St. Louis that you'll have to hear. Somebody puts it as well as I've heard it about why St. Louis is a great sports community and just community overall. That's coming up at 7:45. First, the people who study public health are trying to do a better job listening.
For the last 4.5 years, the Health Communication Research Laboratory in the School of Public Health at WashU has been surveying people in our region. It's called I Heard St. Louis, and it covers everything from storm prep to data centers to ultra-processed foods. Professor Matthew Kruder tells KMOX they've also asked every year what people feel is the most important health problem facing the region.
Gun violence has always been number one, but it's been trending down, and what's been trending up and closing the gap are issues related to mental health and also substance abuse.
Kruder says responses help inform the region's leaders. I Heard also answers the public's questions about current health issues. You can see more at stl.iheard.org. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Clayton voters will decide on Prop O this April, a zero tax rate increase bond issue aimed at Gay Field, the high school learning lab, and a total renovation of Glenridge Elementary. Campaign consultant Dr. Lori Miller says the push for these updates was driven by a realization that the district's physical environment had fallen behind its academic standing.
Our facilities or our schools don't reflect or match the reputation of the students and the excellence that they have. So I think that's an important piece.
The district plans a bridge campus partnership with Washington University to move elementary students temporarily to the former Fontbonne University property. Officials say Fontbonne's athletic center will house gym and cafeteria services during construction relocation.
Well, you can point to anything you want last night as the Billikens lost at Rhode Island 81-76. You can say a play here, a missed shot here, a call here. It really comes down to, says Coach Josh Schertz, the Billikens just got outplayed. In fact, he says had they won the game, they wouldn't have deserved it. Here he is with Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr.
They beat us every loose ball. I mean,
Yes.
they were the
Extra
hungrier, more aggressive team, which is ultimately falls on my shoulders. I didn't have our guys, and I haven't. Like I said, at some point, what we were doing is not, has transitioned into. We come into games and we kind of feel it out, and we and then we kind of, okay, we're gonna flip the switch now. And tonight when we tried to flip the switch, they just never let us get fully back into it. And it was partially, like I said, our inability to convert around the rim, which we had a lot of opportunities to do. Some bad rim decisions where, man, our first half, the ball never turned side to side. We never really, it just got into isolation, dribble down and try to, and that's not the way we play.
And ultimately, they ran out of time, and the Billikens lost the game 81-76. They are now playing for first place in the A10 on Friday because VCU is just a game behind them. 6 o'clock tip-off against VCU at Chaffetz Arena. Southeast Missouri State is now in a first-place tie in the Ohio Valley Conference. They beat Tennessee Martin 56-53 in overtime last night. On to this, and I mentioned it just a couple of moments ago. This is Robert Bortuzzo. Leave it to the former Blues defenseman to put into words how he feels about St. Louis. This is from the DraftKings Network show Missin' Curfew.
Well, what is it about that city like that just makes guys want to not only play there but retire there and then raise a family or whatever it is?
So for me, in the NHL and on teams, there's a lot of kids from like small towns, and they got a special sense of community just because the size of it, or you're living in Canada. And to me, that's what St. Louis is. It's like got an incredible sense of community. The people, they're incredible. A favor's one phone call away. It's getting around, raising families easy. There's just a lot of good reasons, but for me, it just comes back to the people. Maybe there aren't like the best concerts to go to or whatnot or anything, but at the end of the day, it's about who you're hanging out with, to me, and that's what brings people back. And the alumni is incredible. We get taken care of so good between the dressing room.
Yeah.
It's, for me, the fans in that city, they don't ask for much. They just want you to lay it on the line.
Right, yeah.
Just play hard. And for me, the years of success we had, it matched the work ethic and the blue collar and what the city really represents and asks for. So
that is really well said by Robert Bortuzzo, and that applies to all sports: Cardinals fans, City fans, of course, Blues fans, and beyond. And we have a lot going on today on the radio station. The Gas House Gang today at noon. We're going to be joined by Matt Pauley from Jupiter. We'll talk about the resignation of Tony Clark, a little bit more on that from the MLBPA and what's going on with the Cardinals. We'll hear from Cardinals pitcher Matthew Liberatore. We have Brady Cook and Cody Schrader, the former Missouri Tigers and St. Louisans, with us on the show. And then tonight, Jen Cease from the Foundry with the City Spotlight as we get ready for City's opener on Saturday. She'll go from 6 to 8 tonight. Just a whole bunch going on the home of the Cardinals, Billikens, and City, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Santana Oneness Tour 2026. The power, the energy. Come celebrate your favorite hits from Woodstock to Supernatural and beyond with very special guest, the Doobie Brothers. Saturday, June 20th, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Santana and Doobie Brothers, Oneness Tour 2026.
Menard's 11% rebate is here. From lighting to lumber, from doors to floors. The bigger the project, the bigger the rebate. From painting projects to that new kitchen makeover and designing that outdoor space of your dreams. Save big on any project you're tackling. Hurry into Menards for an 11% rebate on everything. Mail-in rebate is a merchandise credit check, not a point-of-sale discount. Redeemable on future in-store purchases only. Not on future purchases on Menards.com. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history. From moment to memory.
Presenting the Barnyard Volleys.
Among those voices, Bill Wilkerson.
He fakes, drop sets, looking, throwing upfield. It is.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
7:51 in time for a check of the roads and the weather. Roger Brand's got the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, they're sending out EMS right now. I'm hearing the call in the background for a crash westbound 70 at East Grand. It is on the left shoulder right now, but it wouldn't surprise me if they block the left lane when they show up. So just be advised, westbound 70 at East Grand in the city. Traffic is backed up all the way through the Arch Grounds onto 44. Not a solid jam, but it's backed up, bogged down at 55 coming through that area. Coming east on Highway 70, you've still got some slow traffic into Wentzville Parkway from Highway K through to E.R. Hughes. It's backed up east of Mid Rivers to Cave Springs because of that crash. South 270 approaching 364 to Ladou's busy. Southbound 61P down onto 64 through Prospect slow. Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake, and east of 270, there are pockets through the inner belt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. South 170 from almost Page to 64 is slow. North 270, north of 55 to 44. Backs up in pockets 44 to Manchester, but still heavy all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound Highway 30, Valley Dell. Not quite Valley Dell, I guess, in through Gravoy Bluff. Still a lot of congestion there. 55 south of the Union Road overpass up across River to Pear. Westbound 6450 through 159. Eastbound 64 from almost 3rd Street on to 15th Street. There's a backup due to road work. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be a great day today in St. Louis. A high of 72 degrees, says AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg, and breezy, sunny. Tonight, low around 50. Tomorrow, chance of a thunderstorm, high 70. It's 57 right now.
It is 7:53. Finding a new location for the St. Louis County Government Center has been on the County Council agenda for about 3 years, but a decision is going to have to be made soon. Maria Kina spoke with County Executive Sam Page about the budget crisis.
It's an ongoing conversation. We are in the process of negotiating a lease, but we have many other options if this does not work out.
As far as the council goes, what are you expecting from them?
Well, I think in the end, they will recognize that the Clayton Fire Marshal has determined that we have less than 2 years to vacate this building, and that it will take us several months and possibly another year to move, especially if we have to make any renovations in whatever lease space we choose. But we have to be out of this building. So we know we need about 80,000 square feet, and we're looking for that opportunity. And then we will live there for several years while we decide what to do with this building or decide to build a new headquarters in Clayton. But not everybody who is in Clayton now needs to be in Clayton. Some of these services can be managed and can serve the community well outside of Clayton. So when we do come back to Clayton, I expect a smaller footprint.
You announced the cuts that you were having to make as a result of what the council has done. What about the pools closing? This is like bad news for the kids for the upcoming summer.
Well, we have to make a lot of tough decisions. This is the budget that the council gave me. And the direction I received was to transfer the money around and make choices. We have to make some difficult choices with the budget that we've been given, but it is not adequate to continue services at the same level as they were last year. So we're going to have some difficult conversations about what are the core services of St. Louis County: public safety, public health, and the police, making sure the jail is as safe as we possibly could make it. Those are core services, taking care of the roads, trying to get some of them subdivisions repaved in the summer. We're going to focus on our core services, and the two of the 4 county pools will be closed this summer. It is a heavy investment to repair them, and it's tough to make these decisions between core services and having all 4 of the county pools open.
Are they okay with this? Have you talked? What are they telling you?
Well, nobody's happy with the reduction of services, but that's the choice we have to make. We have a budget that is not designed to provide the same level of service as the year before. We have significant cuts in the Department of Revenue, which is making it difficult for them to accomplish their tasks and as quickly as they have in the past. We have a police budget that doesn't have all the funding they need to pay the police officers this year. So we're talking about a supplemental to support that. We have cuts in health care to the jail. We have a whole lot of things we're going to be talking about. It took about a month for all of our departments to dig through this and understand the detail and the tough choices that we have to make to live with the budget that we've been given by the county council.
For Total Information AM, I'm Maria Kina, KMOX News.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain.
Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470, or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Larry Older here. You know, one of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start, and see how Relief Factor could be your game changer too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. All one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for Zero Res. Zero Res wants to give your home a little extra love. This week only, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $109 plus a 4th room for free. Book online by February 20th at ZeroResSTL.com.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed only $59.99. Saturday, March 7th at the Residence Inn by Marriott, St. Louis Westport in St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis starts at 11 a.m. Registration at 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking starts at 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
Well, they're in the process of clearing this crash, westbound 70 Grand. It looks like maybe the center lane's blocked right now. They're trying to move it over to the shoulder. Traffic's backed up back past the Poplar Street Bridge. Eastbound 30, New Sugar Creek into Gravois Bluffs. That's still bumper to bumper. Northbound 270, you still got slow traffic from Tesson Ferry to 44. Pockets to Doherty Ferry. Then it's heavy all the way up to Ladue. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley really goes in pockets all the way out through to almost Bowles. We had an incident earlier at Spady. Westbound 64, 50 through 159 on the Illinois side still backed up. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A treacherous search continues this hour for 9 backcountry skiers missing in the mountainous wilderness northwest of Lake Tahoe. 6 others from their group were rescued after an avalanche. Correspondent Matt Gutman.
The Nevada County Sheriff's Office says they were part of a group of 15 skiers and guides who were on a trip in the Castle Peak area near Lake Tahoe. It's known for its deep snow, rugged terrain, has no trails, and no ski patrol.
Captain Russell Green with the Nevada County Sheriff's Office.
It took us several hours to even get, equipment to the scene and get resources deployed.
Wildfires have broken out from Colorado to Texas and Oklahoma. CBS's Jason Allen is in Woodward.
Dramatic video shows rare fire natives racing along the side of a road northwest of Oklahoma City, sending columns of flames spinning through the air. The powerful wind spreading the flames so fast, firefighters could not keep up.
That fire's growing.
That wildfire scorching at least 2,000 acres, forcing families there to evacuate their homes.
A New York City hospital has shut down its program for treating transgender kids.
NYU Langone Health cited the current regulatory environment for ending the program. The Trump administration has proposed cutting off funding to any hospital that provides gender transition surgery, hormone therapy, or puberty blockers for adolescents. Several states have sought a restraining order. Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown.
It really is disappointing that we continually have to come to court to protect the people from their own president.
NYU Langone says its pediatric mental health care programs will continue. Michael Wallace, CBS News, New York.
Meta's Mark Zuckerberg expected to face anguished parents and for the first time a jury when he testifies at a social media addiction trial today. CBS's Emily Pandis from Los Angeles.
We're expecting that Zuckerberg's team will take the defense of, this person already had underlying mental health issues. This isn't about the apps. I'm sure that Mr. Zuckerberg will point out that Meta does a lot in terms of parental controls and teen accounts and things like that to help keep people safe.
The case was brought by a 20-year-old whose mother claims she became compulsively addicted after she started using YouTube at the age of 6 and Instagram at age 9. An 8-year Olympic medal drought is over for American Michaela Schifrin. With almost 2 flawless runs, the most decorated skier in the sport's history has just taken gold in the women's alpine slalom. She beat Switzerland's Camille Rast by 1.5 seconds in Cortina. Anna Sven Larsson of Sweden came in third. Dow futures are up 77. This is CBS News.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 60 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, February 18th. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis makes history and makes a big jump in an important ranking.
For the first time since 1990, St. Louis Lambert will host 2 competing long-haul international airlines. According to a new report from Simple Flying, Lambert Airport notched a 169% year-over-year increase in long-haul departures, the highest growth rate of any airport in the United States. The growth is driven by British Airways, which begins its 4 times a week service to London Heathrow on April 19th using a Boeing 787. But the report notes that Lufthansa is doing the heavy lifting, increasing its frequency to Frankfurt, Germany to keep pace. While the raw number of flights, 210 departures scheduled between April and September, is still lower than bigger hubs like Phoenix, the jump does put St. Louis well above other similar metro areas in flight offerings on the schedule this summer. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
We're really not interested in enforcement action. What we would like people to do is to follow the law.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page on signing an executive order directing his county revenue department to send letters to all unincorporated St. Louis County liquor license holders.
Dr. Page has them advising the businesses that having video lottery terminals, or VLTs, are illegal throughout Missouri.
I haven't talked to the Attorney General about this. She did make an announcement that she is working with federal investigators, including the FBI and the IRS, investigating illegal gambling with these machines and a whole host of other things associated with them.
Page tells KMOX he understands the position Attorney General Catherine Hanaway has taken. He's had no communication with Hanaway, so it's not clear, though, if FBI agents and the IRS will be conducting enforcement in St. Louis County. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The needs are much greater than the revenue we have available. That's what St. Louis City Budget Director Paul Payne told the Citizens Advisory Committee for Capital Expenditures. City officials outlined about $460 million in total needs, with $226 million in critical infrastructure needs, but there's only about $49 million in annual funding. According to the Business Journal, officials outlined significant deterioration in government buildings, including City Hall, where the roof leaks, bridge and street that needs funding to get federal grants, and several park and recreation facilities that have reached failure conditions. Payne told the committee they must weigh priorities given the limited funding. Local residents are being notified of a couple of measles cases that have been reported in the St. Louis area. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer.
Missouri and St. Louis County health officials are alerting the public of a possible measles exposure involving an out-of-state resident who traveled through Lambert Airport a week ago Friday, February 7th, between 5 and 7 p.m. The person was in Terminal 2 at baggage claim and rode parking spot Shuttle 3 to the parking area. The second case involves an adult in the Metro East area, this one at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Collinsville. People attending church there on February 8th between 8 a.m. and 12:15 p.m. were potentially exposed to measles. The church has notified congregants of the exposure. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
And after exposure, measles symptoms can take from 7 to 21 days to develop. Less than 24 hours after it launched, a memorial fund for a slain St. Louis figure skating coach has shattered its fundraising goal. Sam Linehan was shot and killed during a robbery attempt last week. Supporters have now donated tens of thousands of dollars to create a scholarship in Linehan's name. The money will support skaters at the Metro Edge Figure Skating Club, where Linehan, a former Team USA member, served as a coach. A celebration of life is planned for March 2nd at Sado, the restaurant where Linehan worked as general manager. The National Weather Service in St. Louis has issued its first spring flood outlook of the year. Hydrologist Mark Fuchs says flooding is unlikely as of now.
One of the big drivers of our spring flood outlook is not just the aerial extent of snow cover, but the amount of water, how much water is actually in the snowpack.
He tells Missouri Net the other factor is the ongoing drought. Nearly all of Missouri is abnormally dry or in some level of drought. From the KMOX business desk, a major milestone with the Dow hitting 50,000 last week. But Dave Simons, KMOX Money Show host with One Private Wealth, says it's good news and maybe not such good news.
Historically, a lot of times when the market has hit these big, round milestone numbers, it can mark kind of the top.
He says the last few major milestones, hitting 1,000, hitting 10,000, were then followed by recessions or dark spells for the economy. Also, the Dow doesn't reflect what people are feeling about the economy in their own lives. Coming up on Total Information AM, Bayer proposes a multi-billion-dollar settlement plan for Roundup lawsuits. KMOX's Michael Calhoun will go in depth. Plus, we'll have traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber, first in line for the HVAC guy, first at Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be the first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardie and Pella replacement windows specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050. Or check them out on the web at bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Mozart's The Magic Flute comes to life in concert with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Under the baton of music director Stefan Deneuve, hear one of Mozart's most brilliant scores performed in all its richness, with the St. Louis Symphony Chorus and St. Louis Children's Choirs bringing its unforgettable characters to life. February 20th and 22nd at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Hey guys, Glover here for Zero Res. So we just celebrated Valentine's Day. They want to give your home a little extra love. This week only, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $109. That is a great, great price. Plus a 4th room for free. Book online by February 20th. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com. Don't forget to mention the DGS. It's this week only. It's a killer price. ZeroResSTL.com.
Turning 50 doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting smarter about your health. That's why we created NeoVitan Men's 50 Plus Multivitamin. It's doctor formulated to support your energy, immune health, and overall vitality. Plus, it's made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Take control of your health with supplements you can trust. Look for NeoVitan Men's 50 Plus at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, or online at neovitan.com. NeoVitan, made for men who keep moving forward.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM, Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Still looks pretty busy out there on the roads. Let's get the latest from Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, there's a lot going on out there, Megan. In fact, eastbound Highway 30 still backed up New Sugar Creek through Gravois Bluffs. It could be signal problems. Maybe there's a shorter backup westbound, but that's been pretty solid for a while. And by the way, we'll talk about some of these secondaries right now for a minute. Northbound 141 backed up south of Hawkins up to 44. It's jammed again from Clayton Road up to 64. Busy in other spots, but those are the worst parts. Northbound 270, Gravois up to 44. It's jammed from there to Big Bend and remains heavy all the way up to Ladue. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, there's still a backup east of Mid Rivers to Cave Springs because of that earlier crash. 370, more folks are going that way, and we had debris near 141. Eastbound 370 is backed up from Elm Newtown all the way up to the Discovery Bridge at this point in time. Eastbound 64 coming off 61, so Wentzville Parkway to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, slow. Boone's Crossing to Timberlake, and then again around the Inner Belt. Westbound 64, though, from Hampton all the way out to almost Ballas. We had an incident west of Spady. It's bumper to bumper. A lot of that stretch westbound, believe it or not. Northbound 55, Bayless up to River to Pear. 44 from 55 out onto 70 past the Mutual Veterans, heavy because of the crash we had at Grand. Westbound 44, Jefferson to Grand, the roadwork delays. Eastbound 64 jams from the 70 split to 15th Street due to roadwork, and westbound 64, 50 to 159 still heavy. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a breezy start to our Wednesday. Mostly sunny, unseasonably warm, high 72. The record of 74 was set in 1971. Skies will turn partly cloudy tonight with a low near 50. For tomorrow, variable cloudiness and warm. It'll become breezy in the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots. It could be hail and damaging wind with any thunderstorm, the high 70. Breezy, much cooler Friday with sunshine and some clouds, high 48. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
And it is a warm morning, 59 degrees in Florissant, 58 in St. Peter's, sunny skies, 60 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM. Here's Michael Calhoun.
Well, as we continue on KMOX and Total Information AM, Michael Calhoun with you. And we've been reporting that Bayer is proposing a $7.25 billion settlement to resolve future claims against the Roundup weed killer. They inherited that from the Monsanto acquisition. This proposal filed in circuit court in St. Louis. It would establish a payment structure over the course of 2 decades for cases that are in both state and federal courts right now. And joining us on KMOX to break this down and find out what it means for this St. Louis company is CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Thane.
Anytime for you, Michael. You know that.
Yeah, so tell us, first of all, why the St. Louis Circuit Court as opposed to, many of these were filed in California, for instance. Tell us about the geography here.
Agriculture. These are wherever this product was being used, the weed killer, there's an element, an ingredient within the formula that the allegation is that it causes non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so therefore, in states that had much more rural and agricultural areas, you find more claims. There were 200,000 claims in this class settlement and 125,000 plaintiffs. So they're all pretty much in red states, but this one was centered. But they were all over the country. This just happens to be the locus of where this class action settlement will be made. But there were, again, 200,000 cases. Only about 20 of them were resolved, literally like half and half. 11 was in favor of Bayer, 11 was in favor of the plaintiffs. So there was, sort of mixed outcomes here. And I wouldn't get too excited about the settlement because, frankly, Michael, when you take a good look at it, you realize with 200,000 people, with 200,000 claims and 125,000 people, most people who got cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, will get about $10,000. And that's nothing. And so this is a symbolic remedy. It's not really a financial remedy. A lot of people will opt out of the class. You don't have to settle. You could say, wait a minute, let me see. You telling me I'm going to get $10,000? You know what? Let's go ahead. I'm going to file my own lawsuit and stay in this because this isn't sufficient enough for me. So I think that it's not clear. Also, the Supreme Court has a case right now that will be argued in April, just in a few months. That case involves the same weed killer. And the issue there is that Bayer is saying, well, wait a minute. If the EPA said we can use this product without a cancer warning, then why are we getting sued? Why are we getting sued in state court if the independent federal agency dealing with environmental protection told us that this element doesn't actually cause cancer? We don't have to give a warning. And so the Supreme Court is going to be discussing that. So that could change the settlement also based on what the Supreme Court rules.
Yeah, I was going to ask, with this preemption argument up there just in a couple of months coming up in April, why would Bayer agree to $7 billion now when potentially it seems like the Supreme Court could say you're not liable for any of this in just a few months?
You know what? They're playing Russian roulette, Michael. They're saying, you know what? We would rather lock down a set number, a sum that we can cover. We can cover this. And, this thing has bogged us down for many, many years. We have taken that particular ingredient out of the mixture, and we're selling the weed killer without it, even though we're claiming it's inconclusive whether it's the cause of cancer. But it's really making it impossible for us to run our company. So let's get a resolution here. If the case in the Supreme Court rules in favor of the plaintiffs, then it goes in the other direction, and that this settlement could seem like a bargain, because then if this number is off the table and everyone is saying Bayer had an affirmative duty to put a cancer warning on the label, then all of a sudden this number will be very, very small. So they're playing a game of chicken, both sides, right? They're both saying, you know what, let's get a sum certain, because we really have no idea what's going to happen in the Supreme Court. And how you know that? Because, as I said, of the cases that have gone to a jury or have been resolved, they're pretty much half and half. Half go to Bayer, half goes. So you have no idea what the Supreme Court will rule. So they took a chance, by saying, look, let's just at least know what we're at the outside, what we're liable to pay.
Now, you mentioned that dividing this up amongst, all of those people, could mean a payout as low as $10,000. We've heard that some of the previous payouts, in the six figures may have been too low for some of those who are suing. Also with this, Bayer says they can cancel this whole deal if too many people opt out. And so what do you think is the likelihood that a lot of people are going to say, this is not enough, this doesn't even cover my medical bills, for whatever, cancer or whatever medical condition I developed, I'm going to opt out. Bayer says, all right, fine, we'll just, throw the whole thing out.
Yeah, Michael, you're absolutely right. That's why I said earlier, I wouldn't get too excited, because, it sounds like a resolution. Not sure it's a resolution. And the point that you were making about this, the $10,000 went to people that have like a garden in their backyard, right? And they got the disease, got cancer. But if you were an agricultural worker on an industrial scale, you know what you got? $165. That doesn't seem like a lot of money. If you were in the thick of it, right? Working for a farm and in an industrial setting, and that's the best you could do. So, right, you've got, medical bills, you have all legal bills, you have a lot of things. People are going to opt out. And if they opt out, of course, in these situations like this, the corporation is saying, look, we're not going to, if we know we're going to be sued by most of the people that have now left the class, why would we give you the money? We're giving you the money that takes the 125,000 plaintiffs off the table. But if they're going to run out and file their own private lawsuits, then we have no incentive to settle at all. So you're quite right.
Now, Bayer CEO Bill Anderson said that this gives the company some closure. Of course, the crop science division is headquartered in Creve Coeur, big St. Louis suburb. It's the legacy of Monsanto, one of the longtime St. Louis area headquartered companies. Does this, do you think, give Bayer crop science closure? Should St. Louisans, looking at this major employer and headquarters here, say, all right, things are going to be stable now?
You just reminded me something, but it's in your area, it's your neighborhood, so you probably figured it out before I did, which is Monsanto is the company that invented the product. Bayer bought it. It apparently is a gigantic moneymaker as a product. It also is a cancer, seemingly may have caused cancer in hundreds of thousands of people. But yes, I think that they're saying you have no idea what a dark cloud this product has been. We don't make it the same way. We've taken that ingredient out, but it's still a dark cloud. And just like all sorts of class actions, sometimes they just define the company and its mission. And the idea is to just get out from under it and be able to start fresh. So yes, that's what the word closure means in a corporate setting. That the lawsuits are over. And the black mark that it leaves on our corporate structure, is going to eventually dissipate in time.
CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. So much to get into with this, and we appreciate you helping us break it down and understand what's going on here. Thank you so much.
Great hearing your voice, Michael. Thank you.
8:21, time for a check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Also, a lot of traffic out there, Megan. This traffic reports a service of Meadowview Memory Care. Northbound 270, Gravois all the way up to Ladue, still heavy. South 270 approaching Olive to Ladue, slow. Eastbound 30 still backed up from New Sugar Creek to Gravois Bluffs. Could be signal problems there. Northbound 141, Hawkins up to 44, still on the brakes. There's still a backup pretty close to Clayton Road up to 64 as well. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, still a little busy. Mid Rivers up the hill to 370 because of the earlier crash at Cave Springs. 370 itself, Elm Newtown up through 94. Roadwork in the right lane's the culprit there. Eastbound 64, a little busy past Prospect, past Clarkson, east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley's heavy. It's doing better West of there, 55 Union to River to Pear is slow. Westbound 44, 55 to Grand is heavy due to road work. Eastbound 44 from 55 out onto 70 is slow. Eastbound 64 jams approaching the 70 split to 15th Street due to road work. And westbound, same deal. Road work 50 through 159, you're on the brakes. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast, we're going to be breezy today, mostly sunny and unseasonably warm. We're expecting a high near 72, which could get close to a record of 74 set in 1971 for tonight. Partly cloudy with a low of 50. Right now we have sunny skies, 60 degrees. Coming up next on Total Information AM, Illinois facing significant cuts in federal funding. Governor Pritzker offers his budget priorities today in Springfield, and we'll get a preview.
Discover Meadowview Memory Care in Arnold, a small, secure community on a beautiful campus. Enjoy peace of mind with all our inclusive rates and comfortable private suites. Schedule your tour today at rspseniorliving.com.
How many of you think taxes will go up in the future? And if they do, who will get hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Thursday, February 19th or Tuesday, February 24th. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Let's be honest. The hearing aid industry is broken. Overpriced clinics, pushy appointments, bills of $5,000 or more. That's the trap they hope you fall into. Don't let it happen. Audion Hearing is the escape. Their FDA-registered hearing aids cost just a fraction of the big brands, starting at only $98. Instead of paying as much as $5,000 plus all the doctor appointments and wasted time, you get what you need with no prescriptions, no office visits, no time wasted, and no crazy price tag. Call 800-700-HEAR. That's HEAR. Audion's cutting-edge devices are rechargeable, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. Try them risk-free for 45 days with lifetime support and real human help just a phone call away. Over 1 million people have already said yes to Audion Hearing. Join them. Don't let them take advantage of you. Break free from the trap. Call now 800-700-HEAR. That's HEAR for a very special offer. 800-700-HEAR or 800-700-4327.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Last year, Governor J.B. Pritzker warned of threats to democracy in his State of the State address. What will the Democrats' focus be today as he outlines his priorities this year for the state of Illinois? Joining me with a preview, Ben Zielinski, State House reporter with Capital News Illinois. Ben, thanks for your time this morning.
Good morning, Megan. Thanks for having me.
How much would you expect Governor Pritzker's State of the State address to again focus on actions by the Trump administration and how it's impacting Illinois?
I think it's probably going to be the big theme of it. I mean, that's certainly the biggest budget pressure that the state of Illinois is facing right now. I mean, a lot of the cuts that have come out of Washington and various changes that Congress has made to social service programs are really going to put a big hole in Illinois' budget here in the coming years. So I think we're going to hear a lot about that. I mean, we certainly heard a lot about J.B. Pritzker's opposition to Donald Trump last year. And, the governor's growing on the national scene. And I think we're probably going to hear a similar message, something that could position the governor as another, top national Democrat.
You mentioned the federal funding cuts. I know you've covered this and the tariff impact on Illinois. Where does the state stand financially in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so really the governor's latest budget report from back in October showed there's a $2.2 billion deficit that the state's going to have to figure out this year. And that number's kind of fluctuated a lot as we've seen various federal funding things get taken away from Illinois and reinstated again by federal courts. So it's a little hard to peg down what that deficit is for this year. But in the coming years, we know that with economic uncertainty, that's going to certainly hurt, just natural revenue growth. But then there's also potentially just less federal funding that's going to be coming in. And there's a lot more costs for SNAP, for example, various changes to Medicaid that are going to put a huge hole, multi-billion-dollar hole in the state budget in the coming years. So, I think one of the things we'll be looking for today is, does Governor Pritzker have a plan to kind of proactively start to prepare for some of those even bigger holes that are coming in the next couple of years?
Speaking of a plan, I know you've reported that some Democrats are calling for tax hikes to fill those gaps. Has the governor made any comment about those types of proposals?
He has not specifically commented on it. Obviously the governor was a supporter of raising taxes on millionaires several years ago, but that failed at the ballot box in Illinois in 2020. And this year he said it's really up to lawmakers if they want to pursue that. He's not proposing it himself. And I don't think we're really going to see anything significant on the tax hike front today. The governor has said for quite a while now he's opposed to any broad-based tax increases on sales tax, income tax. So I think if we do see any new taxes today or tax increases, they're going to be very small and targeted at very specific items, like maybe sports books is something that the governor has targeted the last couple of years. So I think it's going to be a lot of things that don't truly, affect a vast majority of people.
Ben, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Megan.
That is Ben Zielinski, State House reporter with Capital News Illinois here on KMOX this morning. It's now 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Race car drivers like NASCAR champion Jesse Love are a lot like commercial drivers, pros, but even the best watch the tape to see what they missed and get better next time. The Samsara driving coach does the same for your fleet, giving drivers real-time feedback to build safer habits. Samsara's AI uses billions of miles of real driving data to help fleets prevent accidents and protect drivers.
If it makes me a better driver, it'll make your fleet unstoppable.
Because even champions need a coach. Learn more at samsara.com.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in a school pickup line, thinking about what to make for dinner. Are the kids' practice jerseys clean? If she sent out that last email before leaving work. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your HVAC systems at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com today. After all, comfort is our middle name.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Barnes Jewish Hospital and WashU Medicine physicians have long been leaders in heart and vascular care. Now, we're taking the patient experience to another level by opening our new state-of-the-art patient tower, designed specifically with heart patients in mind. By combining the latest technology with thoughtful design and private rooms, heart patients can experience faster healing, reduce stress, and improved outcomes. Learn more at barnesjewish.org/heart.
All right, it's been kind of a mess out there this morning, so let's get an update on the roads for you with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
They still have quite a bit of volume out there, Megan. This traffic report to service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Northbound 270 is better, but still slow. Approaching 44 all the way up to Ladue. South 270 Olive midway down to Ladue is a little busy. Eastbound 70 is slow down. 370 to Cave Springs, 94 to 5th Street. 370 itself, not a complete jam, but east of Elm Newtown, still a lot of heavy traffic up through the Discovery Bridge. They're working in the right lane past 94. Eastbound 64 through the Chesterfield Parkways, heavy east of Lindbergh, slow to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, you've got delays. Eastbound 30, still backed up. New Sugar Creek to Bravoy Bluffs, a solid jam. I think it's signal problems. Northbound 55, Bayless to River to Pears slow. Eastbound 44 approaching the Poplar to the Musial Veterans is heavy. Westbound 44 Jefferson to Grand roadwork delays. Eastbound 64 from the 70 split through 15th Street. The right lanes are closed for roadwork. Westbound 64, 50 through 159, you've got roadwork delays. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, a breezy morning, then sunny and unseasonably warm. Today, we're expecting a high of 72 degrees. Right now, sunny skies, 60 downtown at the Arch. CBS pushing back against Stephen Colbert's claim that the network blocked him from doing an interview. Alex Silverman spoke to a former FCC attorney about how it went down.
CBS says it didn't actually kill Colbert's interview with Texas Senate candidate James Tallarico. It just gave the Late Show legal advice that it would trigger the FCC's equal time rule, a rule that hasn't been enforced against late-night talk shows in 20 years. But the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, put out new guidance to stations last month.
In this letter, Carr said he was thinking about dropping the exception for talk shows because he said some of them were motivated by partisan purposes. Well, sir, you're chairman of the FCC, so FCCU.
Gigi Sohn was the counselor to the FCC chairman during the Obama administration, and she says she thinks the equal time rule should apply to talk shows in certain cases.
And it does trouble me that James Tallarico can, be on the View for 20 minutes or be on Colbert for 20 minutes and basically give what's essentially a campaign speech, and the other candidates don't get an equal opportunity to present their points of view. That actually troubles me. But what troubles me more is that I believe that Brendan Carr wants to use this as yet another tool to bludgeon the broadcast networks.
She says the idea is not for the FCC to start meddling in these things before the fact.
If the other candidates didn't ask for equal opportunities or equal time, it's none of the FCC's business.
Sohn says it's worth noting the FCC didn't actually do anything here. Paramount took it upon itself to preemptively do what the chairman wanted.
And that's the brilliance of Brendan Carr. He saber rattles successfully, but he never actually does anything that can be appealed. He's crazy as a fox because he knows that, as soon as he puts something on paper, it's going to be taken to court and he's probably going to get taken to the cleaners. But when you don't have a reviewable order, when you just have threats and the companies just bend the knee the way you want them to, there's really not that much that can be done in the courts, unfortunately.
I'm Alex Silverman.
Still ahead on Total Information AM this hour, we'll find out why St. Louis is a dangerous place for birds. And St. Louis settles complaints over inhumane conditions at the former city workhouse with a $4 million payout. We've got more on your money coming up next.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Italian subs for your finance team at Chicago. Easy Cater. Burritos for your call center crew in Plano. Easy Cater. Bagels for your sales reps meeting clients in Charlotte. Easy Cater. Hot chicken sandwiches for your third shift warehouse workers in Memphis. Easy Cater. Your teams may be spread out across the country, but you've got one platform to feed them all, whenever and wherever they work, with food they love from favorite restaurants. Easy Cater. Food for the workplace, all in one place. Order now at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time for your Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. U.S. stock futures are up despite ongoing concerns over artificial intelligence, which drove some sharp swings in equity markets yesterday. Gold and silver are also rebounding this morning. Uber says it plans to spend more than $100 million to build more autonomous vehicle charging stations in the U.S. It's focusing on cities like Dallas, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, where it also plans to launch more robo-taxi services and compete with Waymo. Uber says owning charging stations will improve efficiency, lower costs, and keep vehicles on the road longer. YouTube says it's fixed the problem and restored service to more than 300,000 users. The problem prevented videos from appearing across the YouTube app, YouTube Music, and YouTube Kids. And Warner Brothers Discovery is briefly reopening takeover talks with Paramount to hear the company's best and final offer. The studio still has an agreement with Netflix, but Netflix has granted Warner a waiver to open discussions with Paramount for 7 days. It now has till February 23rd to negotiate a possible deal. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Unlock a brighter outdoor space in 2026 with Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Let us be your trusted partner for all your landscaping, lawn, and gardening needs, empowering you to create a haven that brings joy and serenity to your life. From landscape design to property maintenance to our garden center, we're here for you. Houseplants, tree shrubs, organic soil mixes, gardening and plant classes, and more. Chesterfield Valley Nursery's Garden Center has what you need no matter what the season. Visit us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday hours start in March. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for all class and sale updates.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
This is Harry Carey from the beautiful new Bush Memorial Stadium.
From moment to memory.
The chase is on.
Among those voices, Bruce Bradley.
I felt better when Jimmy Carter was president, knowing that Rosalind Carter was around saying, now, Jimmy.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Coming up on Total Information AM, Debbie Monterrey will tell us why St. Louis is a dangerous place for birds. Let's see if it's safe out there on the roads for you this morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, pretty safe, I guess. It's definitely still slow, Megan, unfortunately. This traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Eastbound 30 better, but I'd still call it Valley Dell to Gravois Bluffs backed up again. I think it's signal issues at that location. Northbound 270 backs up briefly at 44, but basically just slow all the way up through Ladue. If you're on eastbound 64, a little busy through the Chesterfield Parkways, east of Lindbergh to Big Bend, westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley is heavy. Just a slowdown now on eastbound 370, east of Elm Newtown through 94. They're doing road work. I believe it's the right lane closed there. Westbound 44 from Jefferson to Grand, you got roadwork delays. Eastbound 44, the Poplar out on the 70 at almost the McKinley Bridge is slow. And again, roadwork eastbound 64 at 15th Street has a jam at the 70 split on the Illinois side, and westbound 64 roadwork slowdowns both sides of 159. Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. It's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunny and warm today, a high 72. Right now, sunshine 60 downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, and you're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. Here's Debbie Monterrey.
Ever just been sitting there and a bird hits the window? It's really sad and disturbing, but multiply that by dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands, because birds do hit buildings. And in fact, there is a 2025 Bird Safe STL report that is out now. And to talk about it with us is St. Louis Audubon Society Urban Conservation Specialist, Matt Barton. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Was 2025 a typical year for bird strikes, or how would you assess the Bird Safe STL report?
Well, I would say that it's pretty typical compared to what we've seen in past years, but the picture is starting to come into greater focus as we're increasing the number of collision monitoring surveys that we do during spring and fall migration each season. So having conducted the most surveys we've ever done this year, we have a more complete picture of what does that spring and fall migration window look like.
And what does it look like? Where is the most dangerous area for birds?
Yeah, so in St. Louis, we're currently monitoring in downtown St. Louis and in downtown Clayton. Of those 2 sites, we're seeing more collisions in downtown St. Louis. Around 3/4 of the collisions that we documented in 2025 were in downtown St. Louis. But really, any urban space that has glass or light pollution issues can be a threat to birds. So it's not even just in our downtown in our downtown areas. It's also, something that can happen at our own homes.
Is it true that St. Louis is one of the most dangerous cities for migratory birds?
Yeah, there was some research done by Cornell Lab of Ornithology a few years back, and it was based on that data. They said that St. Louis was the 5th most dangerous during spring migration and the 6th most dangerous during fall.
I know that they do turn off the lights on the arch during bird migration periods, they say, to not confuse the birds. Is that effective? Has that worked? Or does it just make the buildings beyond the arch more dangerous?
No, I would say it's definitely impactful. So that's when the arch turns out their lights each spring and fall, that's part of a larger group called Lights Out Heartland. And that is a Midwest organization, but in St. Louis, there's other places that participate in that as well, including Central Library downtown, Washington University, and the St. Louis Zoo. So every little bit counts, but the danger with the light is that the majority of migratory birds in the United States are actually migrating at night. And they use things like celestial cues, like the stars, to help them orient along their flight paths. When they're passing through a place like St. Louis, where there's a lot of light pollution, that light can actually draw them in towards our urban areas, where then there's that greater chance of them interacting with, our built environments, including our buildings.
So how many birds are we talking about that you counted in this 2025 survey who did die because of building collisions?
So between the 2 sites in 2025, we documented a total of 547 collisions. In downtown St. Louis, we're seeing a lot of white-throated sparrows. We're seeing a lot of ovenbird, another species of, it's a species of warblers. And in downtown Clayton, we're seeing a lot of actually ruby-throated hummingbirds, particularly around a particular area. And we're, working to understand more. Why do we see the different mixes of birds that we're encountering in downtown St. Louis versus downtown Clayton? That's some of the questions that we're curious about when we're collecting this information.
This region is, from what I understand, a very important path for migratory birds. Is this sort of a major highway, so to speak, for migratory birds?
Definitely. So we're right in the center of the Mississippi Flyway, and that's a particularly important flyway for migratory birds. And so you can think about, most of these birds are migrating at night, and they don't end up, in one night in their final destination. This is kind of a marathon, so to speak. So as they're going from their wintering grounds back towards where they are going to be breeding, their breeding grounds, they'll be taking little breaks along the way. So places like St. Louis are really important, and especially, these urban green spaces like Tower Grove Park, because they've got all of the things that, are attractive and a bird needs to kind of refuel along that migratory path. Good shelter, there's water, it's everything, that a bird might want.
Is there anything that you would recommend to building owners or managers who may have buildings that get hit a lot by birds? Is there anything that they could do other than lights?
That's one of the great things about this kind of story is that there really is things that can be done to mitigate these collisions. For buildings that are really problematic and are seeing a lot of collisions, they call them collision deterrent markers. So you can kind of imagine it's like a big, almost like double-sided sticker where the sheet is applied to the outside of the building, it cures, and then that's peeled away, leaving these little quarter-inch dots. And the dots have been, through research shown to be highly effective at helping birds to just see that there is something there.
I understand that you did narrow down what the most dangerous place is in downtown St. Louis for birds.
The current building that, we've seen a lot of collisions at in downtown St. Louis is Bank of America Plaza. And part of that is the material of the building. It's a kind of a darker reflective glass. So that can cause, if a bird were to see trees reflecting off of that building, it might the bird might actually think that that is a tree they could fly over to and utilize. And in the process have a collision. And then the building's proximity also to, another urban green space being City Garden, where, birds that are flying through the area, if they happen to be in that kind of downtown, area, when they decide, that they need to stop and take a rest for the day. There's a lot of good resources for birds over there between the plants, the water features, etc.
It's the 2025 Bird Safe STL report. It's put out by the St. Louis Audubon Society, and their urban conservation specialist is Matt Barton. Thanks so much for sharing this information with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Coming up on Total Information AM, St. Louis settles a $4 million federal lawsuit over conditions at the former workhouse. We're going to talk about those payouts.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It may be mid-February, but it's going to feel like spring today. So take some time to stand out in your yard and imagine the coming spring and summer and what is missing from your yard. Maybe your deck is falling apart and needs to be replaced. Maybe you would like to have a bigger patio, a pergola over that patio, a retaining wall, maybe one of those built-in, pizza ovens, fireplaces, who knows? Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck because they do free project design. They can put something together, or maybe you know exactly what you want. That's great too. Or stop into Chesterfield Fence and Deck's beautiful showroom in the Chesterfield Valley to really get a great idea of what can be done. They do amazing work. They've been around for 57 years, an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Chesterfield Fence and Deck truly is the sign you have the very best. And if you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they will offer you 48 months interest-free financing. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Online right now at chesterfieldfence.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Is your furnace on its last legs? Don't wait for a cold night to find out. Jerry Kelly and KMOX are giving you the chance to win a brand new furnace this winter season. Just go online to KMOX.com/contest through March 1st and nominate someone who you think deserves a brand new furnace. Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. Win a brand new furnace. For more information and contest rules, just head to KMOX.com/contest.
More than 16,000 people once held at the now shuttered St. Louis City Workhouse could get part of a $4 million settlement. Advocates alleged inhumane conditions at the medium security facility over the course of a decade. The settlement was finalized in federal court over conditions at the now closed medium security facility that included allegations of extreme temperatures, infestations of pests, as well as mold and sewage issues. KMOX's Maria Kina spoke with the group that filed the suit, Arch City Defenders Executive Director Blake Strode.
How did you come up with the number 16,000?
Well, it was less us coming up with the number than getting our arms around the number of people that were in the jail over that period of time. So the claims date back to November 13th, 2012, and they go all the way through June 30th, 2022. And based on the records, jail rosters, other things like that provided by the city, our assessment is that there's a bit over 16,000 people that are eligible during that period.
And Blake, $4 million for 16,000. What does that average out, do you figure, about for each person?
Yeah, that's a really hard question. So I'll say a couple of things. One is that in order to be eligible to receive money under this settlement, they need to have been in the workhouse 3 or more consecutive days. So if they were there less than 3 days, they actually are not eligible for payment under this settlement. So it's people that were in the jail that were there 3 or more consecutive days. And in terms of the amount that people will receive, that really depends entirely on the number of claims that are made. This is what's called a pro rata settlement. And so it actually depends on the number of eligible claims as opposed to a set per diem rate. And so there's some, on the documentation that we provided, the notice for this settlement, there's some ranges provided, based on the number of claims that are received or the percentage of people who make claims. You can get a sense of how that range might vary, but it could vary quite a bit depending on how many people make claims.
For many of the people, they were there a lot longer than 3 days. They might have been there for the whole period when the conditions existed like they were.
Yes, absolutely. And so, there are people who could potentially receive thousands of dollars from this settlement. So I'll read to you verbatim what the long form notice in this case says, which is if on one far end of the spectrum, if 100% of people who are in the class make claims, then someone who was there for 100 days would receive about $120. But if 10% of people who are in the class file claims, that same person who was there 100 days will receive $1,220. And then to your point, say someone's there for 2 years, not 100 days. Now we're talking thousands of dollars. So the range of possibility is actually pretty wide, depending on A, how long someone was there, and B, how many people make claims.
What do you think the chances are going to be of making contact with all these people? And how will you do that?
Yeah, so it's something that we try very hard when we have these large class action settlements. We really try to go above and beyond in terms of locating and communicating with class members. How do we do it? In a lot of ways. One is by engaging with media like you and helping us get the word out about this settlement. We do as much of that as possible. We post online. We post on social media. We also do sometimes just canvassing. We've worked with community partners to knock on doors and hand out flyers and get the word out that way. So really, we will do anything and everything we can. We'll make direct phone calls if we have phone numbers to try to get this money in people's hands.
Is there any kind of time deadline on this that you have to get in touch with the people or when they have to apply?
Yes, so it's a 120-day period to make claims. And so, that's roughly 4 months. And at that time, we'll then be making a report to the court about the number of claims that have been filed and where things stand.
If you can't contact all the people, what happens with the remainder of the money then? Or how do you figure that out? How's it distributed?
Yeah, so it's the distribution has like a couple of stages because it is, as I said, a pro rata settlement, meaning it's distributed based on the number of people who make claims. There will be one distribution on that basis based on the number of claims that are made. And then based on the percentage of those checks that are then cashed, If there are any unclaimed funds, those will then be distributed in a second wave to people that did cash the first set of checks that went out. So the aim is to get all of the money in hands with people who have eligible claims.
For Total Information AM, I'm Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Skip the sugary drinks. An analysis from Brigham Young University finds sugary drinks